destroyed because of this freak. I won't allow it! These babies just saved this lame fest party!
You are listening to This Week in Geek.net. I'm your host, Mike the Birdman, but I'm not alone in the aftermath of Super Bowl 60. I'm joined by my brother from the wonderful city of Kitchener, Ontario, Canada.
Alex, the producer.
So yes, guys, it is the Monday after Super Bowl Sunday, or the big game, which is so stupid. And
Isn't it that you're not allowed to call it publicly Super Bowl unless it's currently airing and you've gotten permission?
Yeah, you have to get permission from the NFL to do any kind of promotion with it. And it mostly has to do with bars and restaurants running promotions for it. I found this out like a number of years ago.
Like a partnership thing, like to say that you're going to have it on your screen. Like, because I know that they generally, when a sports bar has it, like if they have a cable package, they actually have to pay extra to like where we maybe pay a sports package of like $30 or something to add onto your cable. Mm-hmm. They have to spend like $300 a month.
Yeah, it's really
that
expensive.
gives them public broadcast. Sort of like how like a library, if you go to a library, like generally to like borrow a movie, they have to, unless they have things donated and it's like a special condition with like whatever. But when you get like they'll have educational editions of software or educational editions of movies, and it'll be like $300 or $400. Example, like remember how like the National Film Board of Canada has like those educational shorts that they used to always air on like YTV. The interstitials and little short videos are like those heritage moments and all that. If you want, you can go to the National Film Board or the Ontario Film Board, whatever, on their website, and you can buy a DVD for like $20 if you really want it for your home, and then it'll stay beside it. Or library and educational edition, $300, and it's like a site license to show it.
Interesting.
So I think it's that sort of deal. Like that's why like you can have like regular sports games on at a bar, but like special events or box, like whenever there's like a pay-per-view event, they'll do like an extra cover charge a lot of times at these bars to go in. And it's because they have to pay extra to, like, their pay-per-view is not like a $50 or $100 pay-per-view. It's like $500 to get the pay-per-view for a commercial location.
Jesus. So yesterday it was the New England Patriots versus the Seattle Seahawks. My beloved Philadelphia Eagles were eliminated at their conference championship game. This is a really slow game. It was a lot of field goals.
It was real boring.
Yeah, it was real boring. Although I was kind of joking with Blair. I'm like, I think it'd be kind of funny if this was field goal the game. But it wasn't. Eventually there was like a couple of touchdowns. It was a lot of really stupid plays. New England got their asses kicked good.
Yeah.
Fuck those guys.
Is it because they weren't able to cheat? Is that why?
Yeah, it's all fucking
I don't know much about sports, obviously, but like I only watch the game usually for like the funny things, or if something really ridiculous happens, or mostly like the trailers and the commercials and all that. But in watching this, we went into like the third
quarter,
or I guess fourth quarter, like nearing the end.
Yeah.
And I sent a comment. I don't know if I sent it to you and Blair, but I sent it to the other group chats. And I was like, this game would be much more exciting if in the final quarter you were allowed to do calf kicks and rabbit punches to each other, and they gave it like some hockey excitement, because these games are fucking boring. They're horrifyingly boring.
There was not a lot of great plays. There was a couple of nice fumbles that really helped out the Seahawks, but
Well, the
without getting
one,
too
yeah,
far
yeah. Sorry, there was
inside
the one
football.
good play that looked like it was going to be good, and then it turns out it was fouled out the whole time, and it's like, and the guy's like, oh,
Yeah, like that. I know exactly the play you're talking about, where he just kind of walks down the field, and
and
he
he,
would have
and
got a
he put,
touchdown, but he got
yeah,
fouled out.
he put his head down. And he's like, God damn it, because it would have been like the one good play his team had the whole game.
Yeah,
And I'll say this, the I feel bad for the broadcasters because this was such a boring game that they were doing their best, man, trying to fill the void. But like
yeah.
you could tell there were a few moments when they were coming back from commercials and they're like, the one guy, the one I don't know the host, but the one guy, the white dude on the left, he was like, oh, I guess depending on you were watching it, I was watching an American feed.
Yeah.
You were watching the Canadian feed, not because I was watching through IPTV. So it's
Yeah,
like,
I was watching the CTV. I don't know whether it was the Fox feed. I think it was the CBS feed, pretty sure.
and well, NBC has exclusive rights.
Yeah.
So everything was NBC if it was US. So you didn't have NBC, you would have had probably a Canadian feed directly because it was CTV and TSN had their
Mhm.
own crew there. So the Canadian feed was different than that, and then there's like an international feed. Anyway, but like the NBC hosts, like the commentators, there's a few times where they're coming back, and the guy's like, it was like dead air, and he goes, I got nothing yet. And he like said that because there was nothing happening, there was nothing new on the screen. He just didn't know what to say. And I'm
It
like,
was a it was a
man, that was
very
boring.
defensive game. Very,
Yeah,
very, very much
which
so.
which could be frustrating, but I will say just a couple of things out of watching this. This was the most egregiously offensive series of commercials I've ever seen.
I'm not going to go that far, but what I'll say this
Did
year
you
in
see?
terms of
Did you see
commercial,
the Did you
I
see
did.
the
I
American
did.
commercials?
I did.
All
I
the
watched.
all the horrifying AI and lazy slop.
Yeah, and what I'll say about some of the commercials, some of them I thought there was like one or two I had kind of a chuckle at. Probably the Sabrina Carpenter one and the Kendall Jenner one I thought were kind of funny.
But every
Um,
commercial, I'll just get this off my chest. Every
yeah,
commercial felt like they gave a college intern $20 of like AI credit on one of these chat
like
GPT things
Sora or
and
whatever. Yeah,
and said, generate me viral Old Spice commercials. And that's all it was. Every one was a fake Old Spice thing that used to take hours and hours and really creative minds to make, and made slop that had bad CGI faces, horrible like fake voices. The Backstreet Boys were lip syncing to AI voices of themselves. It wasn't even them singing or talking. It was an AI voice and they just pretended to lip sync it. And
I'd say for
it was
me,
bad, dude. It was fucking. I was offended. Shatner had a good commercial. There was I forget which it was probably an insurance company or something. There was an "Is it cake" thing that was kind of funny.
that one I
And
actually didn't see in any of the compilations that I watched,
okay, the
surprisingly.
brief description is it was one of those like competition. It was like the "Is it cake" show, like or like
Right, yeah.
that little thing. And there's a lineup of people and they're presenting. The ladies presenting something, and the host is like, "Is she cake?" And then she's like, "What?" Like the tone of the commercial changes, and he grabs a butcher's knife and starts walking towards her like he's gonna cut her up. And she's like, "No, get away, get away!" And then it cuts away, and then like everything in the office is cake.
There was a weird one. I don't know who it was for, some like enterprise software. And it was this guy, and I guess he's becoming like a new supervillain or something. And he's like, has Destra the Destroyer been onboarded? No, they haven't signed their paperwork. What do you mean? Well, we sent it to them, but they didn't have an email address. So now we're trying to track down
Ugh.
the receipts. And it was kind of clever. The other
But
one,
I was
the
just
Jurassic Park,
I was scowl faced the whole time watching those
the
commercials.
the Jurassic Park one, there was one or two clever moments in it, but then the CG, it would look really weirdly off. And I'm like, you could have fixed that in editing, or if you're going to pay the money to generate these AI things, go back and smooth it out. Because there's one specific there's a movement from Sam Neill's character of Dr. Alan Grant, and he's talking to Dr. Malcolm. And it's weirdly
Oh,
abrupt.
where the body moves, but the face doesn't move at the right timing.
Yeah, it was it
Yeah,
was just half a second off, but it's
you're
like, you really couldn't fix that? Like, with
you're
all the
spending
money you're
like $10
spending?
million for a commercial slot, and
Yeah,
then
it's like, go
spending
back and fix
50
it.
and then spending money to get these actors, because in that case there were the real actors there,
Yeah.
but then they de-age their face without using the Hollywood software. They're getting AI to de-age their face for free. Like, if you're
It looks
spending
weird.
that kind of money, it makes you look amateur. Like,
Yeah.
you look like an amateur business. Like, it looks, and I feel like whomever's working in the ad executive, I don't know how they don't see it.
Yeah.
How the general audience, and yes, there's going to be boomers and that they're like, oh, it looks funny, it looks funny. It's like that aren't going to analyze it too deeply, but as they're advertising to people, one, they're going to get dumb people to sign up, but anybody that wants to invest, a lot of it was like AI companies that were like, look at what we're doing, we're investing in AI. Everybody seeing that is an investor or is at an executive level that has money to invest will look at this and go, they cheaped out on this, why should I trust them?
Mm-hmm.
Also, did you see multiple commercials for AI companies that were doing things like advertising how, look how much easier AI has made my job, I can go take an extra vacation day today? You know what? That's just advertising to your boss that you can be fired because you don't need to be there to do your job.
Yeah. The other one that looked weird to me, but it's meant to be an AI commercial, was the Alexa Plus with Chris Hemsworth. And there's at one point where he's fighting a bear, and just everything else was fine. The commercial was fine until that moment, but the bear just looked so out of place. Anyway, moving along with
I would
this.
rather watch slop that was made to look like it was like 80s or 90s video toaster style edits, like
Yeah.
pop-up video, or like if it's really bad CG, you can always tell if it's bad CG that was done by hand or bad CG that was done by AI.
Yeah.
Always. And it's jarring. It's not uncanny valley, it just looks bad. Anyway, end of off my high horse, end of rant.
Yes. End of rant. And then moving on to the movie trailers. This felt like a very low stakes year.
I didn't see any of them. I missed
I
the first hour of the Super Bowl, so I didn't see anything that aired in the first
in
hour.
terms of interesting trailers, the Mario movie, it was going to be fine. There was even some Olympic ones that tied into, like, there's Princess Peach doing figure skating, which was kind of nice. There was a Toad one where he was doing bobsled, so that was fine.
Okay.
Minions and Monsters, that looks fun, sure. Supergirl, I thought they weren't going to be there, but I think that was it. Maybe might have come out earlier during the week. It was fine, short but fine. No Mortal Kombat, not surprised. No Spider-Man Brand New Day, no Marvel nothing, but they said they were skipping this year. The Mandalorian and Grogu trailer was a little weird. It was them being pulled by tauntauns in the snow, so it wasn't like a trailer. It was just
So
like, here's a fun thing.
Because I saw the full trailer or the teaser when I went to go see Send Help, and that looked good.
Yeah, there was another one for Disclosure Day, which is the new Spielberg movie that comes out later on in June, I want to say. Yeah, there just was nothing that was like, you must see this. Oh, there was like the Tarantino Netflix movie, which is the sequel to Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, called like Cliff's Adventure or something.
I had no idea that's existing. Okay.
Yeah, I was like, okay, cool, neat, I guess, sure. Yeah, like things, obviously not having Doomsday there was kind of a big deal. Not having Spider-Man there was a big deal. They had Hop, which looks fine. No Toy Story 5, really. I mean, Woody kind of shows up in the Levi's commercial for like a frame or two. Like I said, no Mortal Kombat 2. Can't say I'm surprised there. We'll probably see something in the next like month or two, especially now that it's February. Didn't see a Scream commercial, and that comes out at the end of the month.
Surprised there was nothing for March or April, really.
Yeah, I mean, other than Mario, that's pretty much about it. And like,
yeah, Mario was going to be a given. Like
Yeah.
like Nintendo, as much as they sometimes are weird when it comes to how they market. I didn't see the Mario trailer. I figured I'll watch it later, but like I knew it was going to be there because there were multiple ads for Universal Studios.
Oh yeah.
And like there was like the one of like the little bro, the little kid not liking that his big brother keeps calling him little bro or little man or something.
Yeah.
And then eventually the bigger brother gets scared at the roller coaster, and the little brother's like, "Hey, little bro."
You know what was weird though?
Because a bunch of that was shown at the Mario thing. So it's like it, even if Nintendo wasn't making the push or for the movie, or if they didn't maybe necessarily think it had to be there because it's such an American centralized audience,
Mhm.
their partnership with Universal and the Universal Studios is making so much money off of their theme parks. Like it's basically how Disney and Universal make money now. Like
Yeah.
Disney movies, unless they're like rare gigantic hits, like which still happen once in a while,
Mhm.
the vast majority of their money comes from the theme parks now in the last 10 years.
Yeah.
And Universal's had so many misses outside of the partnership that they made with like when they were reviving a lot of their stuff with what's his name that has the low budget horror movies that he does,
Oh,
um
yeah.
like the Invisible Man and all that.
Right.
They've had those partnerships where they're making money off those like indie horrors and that. um the vast majority of what they make is again from their theme parks. So the fact that I saw two different Universal theme park trailers, and then I knew that Mario was going to be there. So it's like that's where they knew that the bread and butter was, because they knew that families were going to be watching football.
Yeah, it's like I don't know, like it felt so low stakes this year in terms of what was going to be shown. Like I remember it was a big deal a couple years ago when the Top Gun Maverick trailer was shown, when there was the new Mission Impossible trailer was
Yeah.
shown.
Well,
Like
there's no, like, I say no big movies because like Grogu and that's big, but that's not full blown Star Wars big. Like
yeah, which
like
is
if it was
kind of weird considering it's the most popular thing they have in their stable right now. But yeah,
yeah,
like
but it's not, what it isn't is it's not a
it
$200 million movie.
yeah, it's not Skywalker level.
It's also not like final Avatar. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like the last Avatar just came out. Like not last, but not the last, but like the latest one just came
Yeah.
out. So
Mhm.
like if we were talking a summer release of the next Avatar, you would have seen that there.
Oh yeah.
Or if we were talking like a new Transformers or something, like it has to be a flagship from one of these studios.
I'm honestly
And
surprised we didn't get a longer or more detailed Supergirl. The trailer we got was really good. Like, I really wish it would focus more on Lobo,
I
but
have a
from what I've heard,
feeling they're still a little on the fence about the quality of that movie.
I don't know. I've heard nothing but good things, and I have heard from someone, a reliable source who has been to a test screening, and it's going to be pretty good. So
Well,
I'm
yeah,
pretty
I
confident.
I don't doubt we're gonna like it, but I've heard about reshoots, and I think it's more so they're lying low till they figure out what's going on with studio acquisitions,
Yeah, like it's going to be funny times in Hollywood over the next little
right?
bit. But anyway,
Because
yeah.
they're still in that whole they're still in that whole like who's going to acquire us thing, right?
Yeah.
So I feel like had a deal gone through where there's a definitive yes or no for who owns DC,
Mhm.
then we would have seen a bigger push in marketing.
Yeah.
What I
We'll
am surprised,
probably see the bigger trailer. My guess is March, April. It'll be in front of something like a Mario or something.
I'm surprised we didn't see some big thing from like Amazon or MGM or something. Like I don't know if there's a new James Bond actually being filmed yet or anything, but I know what you mean. Like there wasn't like a big
Must see.
wide, or not even must see, but like a big wide audience. Like let's capture the football audience. Like this was always when they would, like, the Super Bowl was always where they would premiere a Fast and Furious movie trailer.
Yeah.
Always.
Mhm.
And I know that there's something in the works there, but there's nothing like we're not seeing these big ridiculous, announcements, like there's nothing like that. Or you're right, like not a Tom Cruise. So probably the big takeaway would be Mario, right? Like
Yeah.
that's the one that I think that they have confidence is going to make $1 billion this year.
If I had to pick my top 3 movie trailers, I would go Mario, Supergirl, maybe Disc Minions and Monsters. I had a lot of fun with. I actually really enjoyed
I
that
didn't even
one.
know that was coming because I've never seen the Minions movies. I should sit down just
The f-
one day
the
when
first
I want
one's
to feel
terrible,
good.
but the second one's fun. I really like
Like
the second.
when I want to have a goofy day where I'm just not feeling well, that might be a good thing to watch, is some of those Minions movies.
Hon Honestly, like, maybe this is something we'll do on Loose Cannon at some point. I'm not gonna promise it just yet, but I'd like to look at the Illumination catalog and DreamWorks catalog of animation because there's some really fun stuff in there.
Yeah.
But anyway, guys, we have got to get to a
Oh,
show today.
One final thing that I
Yes.
don't know because I'm not following the production, but I was
Mhm.
kind of surprised we didn't see a tease or anything for, because I think it's far enough in production.
Mhm.
I'm surprised we didn't see the Henry Cavill Highlander movie, because there's
I
been more and more
can't say I'm
buzz.
surprised. Yeah,
Like I don't know how far. I thought, isn't principal photography done?
I
Like
think so.
I was surprised that we didn't get like a tease, like just like his face and then the sword and then like there
A
can be
hit
only
of the
one or
song.
something.
Yeah.
Yeah, like all they needed was like a 15-second trailer just to get
You
people
know,
hype.
you know what would have been good? This would be my pitch for a big trailer. You just pan around on a forest. It's snow covered. You see an axe embedded in the snow, and you just hear someone say, "Boy, come here," and it says "God of War Amazon 2027." That
Yeah.
would have been a fucking tease right there.
Or it depends on what the adaptation is. Is the adaptation of the modern, or is it an adaptation of like the Greek like original version?
See,
Just
yeah, I'm not entirely sure.
or instead of like you see, you don't even see the axe. You just hear like it's
Chains
like
of
dark
Chaos,
and
maybe.
fire. You hear like chains clanging.
Hmm.
And it just has like an iconic line. Like you just hear him say, yell, I will not be chained.
Yeah. See, yeah, like shit like that. It'd be so
And then
easy.
it just and then you just hear, I will not be chained, and then you just hear like multiple laughter from different gods laughing at him.
Yeah,
I
and
I
so,
will not be chained, and then it's just and it's
yeah.
God of War.
See, that would be cool. But anyway, guys, we have a
Yeah.
pretty big show for you this week. We got a lot of news to talk about, some stuff that happened in the entertainment industry. I think we even have a tech story. We got some weird stuff about stuff you don't do in France and stuff you shouldn't put on your pizza, but will anyway. Coming from me in terms of
And a
reviews,
hint, it's not pineapple, because that actually goes on pizza.
that's true. Coming from me, I'm going to be talking about the 4K Ultra HD release of Boogie Nights from Warner Brothers Home Entertainment. And Alex, what do we got coming from you?
We have, depending on what I said you, a couple different things. I should have a game review here. I've just got to see which one it is. I've got a game review of, I believe Nioh 3.
Mm-hmm.
And I will have some movie. We'll put it in.
Exactly. He will tell me when I start editing. But anyway, guys, we will be back right here on thisweekingeek.net. And right now, we're going to take a listen to Alex's review of Nioh 3. We'll be back, guys, right after this, only on thisweekingeek.net.
Spirit stones. Shining stones imbued with humankind's never-ending dreams. Since time immemorial, this power has been the impetus for human wars.
Such an ominous atmosphere, and one thick with the presence of Aratama.
What makes a shogun? Here is my answer.
How foolish of you to have entered the depths of hell!
Alex, the producer, here with just a quickie review. This is for Nioh 3 specifically. Our friends over at Koei Tecmo Games sent a review copy for us to check out. This is, I believe I covered the previous two games when they had PlayStation 5 ports. I have never been a big proponent of games that are of like this style, like the lumbering soulsy sort of thing. Is that has never really been my thing, but the Nioh games were always a little different. There was a little bit of like slow jank, at least how I would interpret it, based on the play style of it, but it was a little bit more forgiving, a little bit more fun that way. So I received a code this time for the PC version. I had a sort of a review code where I was able to play an earlier build of it. Now I've been playing like the normal build for it. But it's interesting. This is a different style game than the previous ones. First of all, you're sort of jumping between like ninja and samurai gameplay styles with two different weapons. And unlike other games that sometimes have you choose between them, you flip in the middle of use. So like you could be doing a combo one way and then just bam, switching to the other style, and then instantly doing a different combo that uses a different style of weapon. Almost like, what if you mixed a little bit of like Ghost of Tsushima with The Witcher, sort of how you use different weapons for different types of enemies, that sort of stuff. The tutorial for this is longer than I expected, and actually good at getting you used to how it plays. There are some accessibility options you can select that really help with the gameplay. It's a little bit of an easier affair than previous Nioh games, a little more on the forgiving side, still pretty hard, more challenging than I would personally want. But that being said, I'm not great at these styles of games. I did enjoy myself more here than I did with the previous two, for sure. Much better, honestly, much better game, just solid overall. Art style's good, voice acting's good. Everything in this is pretty well made and solid. Performed well on my PC. I've got a mid to higher range PC, not like crazy high end, but it performed perfectly well. Basically max settings. I switched myself everything to like 1080p, but then put everything on max, and I had no issues with hitting high frame rates. Very happy with it so far. Audio design's good, visual design's good. Very little glitches that I found, at least in the build that I was playing. Mileage may vary depending on PC parts, as well as depending on the platform you play it on. But I had a solid time with it. The story is interesting. The gameplay is good. It is probably the best Nioh game that they've ever made. And I mean, and that's from an opinion from somebody who isn't usually a big fan of that style of game. I can say this, that it does everything that previous games did well and extends them to make them a lot better and more accessible while still maintaining the feel of the original games. I think it's a solid game. It might fly under the people's radar a little bit because of the time period it's coming out in, but don't let it slip by. It's actually one of the better games I've played in this style for sure.
The Prime Minister of Sweden visited Washington today, and my tiny little nipples went to France.
Gossip, rumors, panic in the streets. We're lucky.
This Week in Geek News.
Hey guys, welcome back to thisweekingeek.net. I am your host, Mike the Birdman Ashby, joined by my compatriot, Alex the producer Ricci, and now it is time for the first nerd news of 2026. And this first story comes to us courtesy of comingsoon.net. The first Faces of Death teaser trailer for the upcoming remake of the 1978's cult classic horror movie has finally dropped. The video features a series of creepy and grisly clips teasing the remake's vibe and tone. The remake is directed by Daniel Goldhaber, who co-wrote the screenplay with Isa Mazel. John Allen Schwartz directed the original 1978 movie. The documentary-style movie starred Michael Carr as Francis B. Gross, a surgeon who begins to have a fascination with life and death. It featured graphic clips of people dying gruesomely. When the remake was first announced in 2023, it was revealed that Goldhaber and Mazel would be using footage from the original movie. Quote, Faces of Death was one of the first viral video tapes, and we are so lucky to be able to use it as a jumping off point for this use of exploration of cycles of violence and the way they perpetuate themselves online, said Mazel and Goldhaber in a previous statement. I saw Faces of Death in the early 2000s, back when LimeWire, Kazaa, and peer-to-peer like BitTorrenting was still very, very, very new.
And that was when the people were putting the old VHS rips up.
Yeah, and I was like, okay, this is fucked up and weird. Not the most deranged thing I've seen, but pretty fucking close.
I saw it probably in 2000 or 2001, around that same exact time.
Mhm.
And if I had to remember, wasn't it? It was like half real footage, like
Car
documentary footage,
crashes, yeah,
car crashes, or like
autopsies.
autopsy, but and then half of it was like staged.
Yeah.
And at that point, I'm a bit younger than you, but like I'm like 13, and I'm like, this looks fake, this looks fake. Okay, that's real, that's fake. And I was thinking even then, like maybe it's just because the bias of us being young and being exposed to like a lot more TV, a lot more movies, and then a lot more internet, even at a younger age, that
Yeah.
like it was easy to tell. But like our parents' generation had no idea that it was fake.
Well, yeah, because like I remember like hearing about tape trading communities even when I was in high school, and I mostly knew that because of the anime community. Like I
Yeah.
remember going to my first Anime North in like 98, 90, maybe 99, and you could buy VCDs of all sorts of anime stuff.
Yeah.
Some series, some explicit material, we'll say.
Yeah,
And
that was the thing, is like they're outside of like Central Park Media or Media Blasters. I think that's the same company.
yeah,
And that you basically like there wasn't a distributor of hentai if you wanted it in North
Yeah.
America, and like
which
well, I mean there were a few VHSs, but like until like I would say the DVD era, there
Mhm.
wasn't a readily available thing. It was just because they didn't know how to market it. So it was a lot of it was distributed through that sort of through bootleg means, right?
Yeah.
Not saying you had to partake. I'm just saying just as a historical thing,
Yeah.
that's one of those things. It's the same way the tape trading community back in the day, that's how they distributed pornography a lot of times.
Yeah.
Not we're not talking like illegal stuff. It's just that's just and a lot of, especially in the States, there on a state by state or county by county basis, it may be illegal to distribute that stuff within those states. So you'd have people that would meet up you'd go to like a trade show, or you go to like a convention, and you'd be buying them in brown paper bags and then driving them home.
Yeah, like I remember hearing stories of people buying stuff at like gun shows and card shows and stuff like that. But to get back on track here, when it came to buying horror movies, a lot of movies would often get trapped on their original formats. Like you may get stuff that's maybe trapped on beta cassette, maybe it's trapped on VHS. I know when you and I were dealing pretty regularly with Vinegar Syndrome, their whole bread and butter idea was to go get movies that are trapped on a format, bring them up and update them.
Like it'd be either trapped on VHS. Very rarely was it trapped on beta, but there were some that were like that.
Yeah.
But a lot of it was either trapped on VHS, trapped on Laserdisc, which was very common. Like you would think they would have had transfers. A lot of times they didn't. Or a lot of times, more accurately, the uncut version that was trapped on a VHS in like Germany or Australia or here, or maybe the British version had better quality but was missing footage because of censorship.
Violence.
Well, they would get that version and then find a way to splice in the original, that sort of stuff. Like they're doing stuff like that. So I remember that era was very common for that, and I just, as it hit me, it was Faces of Death. Like I would say the big ones that were shared on file sharing in the early, even like before torrents era.
Yeah,
it was Faces of Death,
Cannibal
Holocaust,
Cannibal Ferox,
Cannibal Ferox, because Cannibal Holocaust, because a lot of places had it banned because of the real depictions of animals being killed for it. And part of it was filming native tribes and that, but part of it was just unnecessary. And then Cannibal Ferox, because there's a scene where it looks like somebody chops off a penis, even though it's fake, but it looks pretty real for the 70s. And then Cannibal Holocaust as well, because there was depictions of like genital mutilation and stuff, even though it was fake. It was fake, and it looks fake to us, but in the 70s it didn't look fake whatsoever. To the point where the director had to go. The director was forced to go to court in Italy to bring the actors to prove he didn't kill them.
Actually, there's a really, if for those of you that have the television service Shudder, there actually is I can't remember, I think it's called Greatest Ever, and it's like a documentary series that focuses on one particular horror movie or whatever, and they actually do an episode on Cannibal Holocaust. Yeah, and it's really intriguing because some people from that will talk about it, and other people just disappeared, and nobody knows what happened to them. Like they just left Hollywood or whatever.
Or a lot of it was the Italian cinema. It just was gone. Like, and
Yeah.
I say so it's those. It was a little more rare, but as far as ones there was that was it a Chinese propaganda film made about the atrocities that Japan did?
Yeah, I know the one you're talking about. That was called Children of the Sun or Men of the Sun, something like that.
And that
And
it
I
went under a
saw
few different names on there, and that was messed up. That was on there. There were a couple others that were like just underground films, like Ricky O, and that were great. But as far as like ones that were made to try to depict like as if they were documentaries, even though they weren't, like they were produced. But I would say the other one that was the guinea pig films, and those ones, I think it's Guinea Pig 2 is the one that Charlie Sheen called the FBI over because he thought it was a snuff film.
Yeah.
And in watching it, it looks pretty real, but again, he's kind of a boomer. He's in between that age of and when he saw it in like 1992 or 3 or whatever, I fully believe that he believed it was real.
Oh,
and
yeah.
This was not him on coke back then, even the same way. Like this was a sheltered Hollywood person not realizing what it was, and I looked at it and I was like, these are gross. And like you watch them because you're like, what do I have? What do I have? Not that you're trying to find snuff films, but you're like, why does this have so many people sharing it? I've heard of that title. You watch it, and that was in that group, that 4 or 5 films that were like, hush hush. Oh my God, they're sharing these banned films on the internet and tying it all back in. I think Faces of Death was the famous one because that one had like an actual Grindhouse release in theaters here.
Yeah. And like to kind of finish off our thoughts on Faces of Death, I mean, it's fine that it's coming back, but if you're trying to create viral clips that are on like the found VHS, the VHS movies are much better, honestly, and
also,
they've got a cooler narrative to them.
This screams to me Gen X people who
Yeah.
grew up terrified of it as kids. And our generation wasn't terrified. We knew the difference. This screams them thinking it will resonate with young audiences. Gen Z and Alpha have no idea what that is.
I think, honestly, what I think this is going to end up being, this is going to be a lot of people's demo reel, so to speak, to get into higher properties. Because you look at what Damien Leone has accomplished with the Terrifier franchise.
Yeah.
Outstanding special effects, creative character, but those movies are known for their graphic violence and how real everything looks.
They're missing the oomph to make them into a full-fledged. They feel if you're just glorifying that scene, they don't justify his movies are like 30, 40 minutes too long.
Yeah, like Terrifier 2 is like 2.5 hours. Terrifier 3 is about the same length. And you could cut 30 minutes and you really wouldn't lose a lot. You'd lose a little momentum, but not a lot.
The pacing is off in his films. And it's not, I'm not trying to disparage him. It's just in watching them, I was like, oh, pacing, buddy. Pacing. Yeah. You're not as effective as you could be.
Yeah, like I don't need to see someone being tortured with vinegar and salt for 15 minutes. You could get away with 10. You know what I mean?
I feel like as much as a lot of people don't like his movies, and I don't think they're great, but as a teenager watching them, they had their exciting moments. I feel like Eli Roth had the right idea of making his movies between like 70 and 90 minutes for his torture porn garbage.
Yeah, which, by the way, I just want to share this thought. So I finally saw Hostel over our vacation we took.
It's okay.
And that's the thing. Yeah, I was like, this is fine. It's fucked up. It's weird. It's okay.
It's better than Hostel 2.
Yeah, when the girl jumps in front of the train, I was like, oh shit, that was probably the most intense moment for me. And I was like, okay.
The acting of I think this is the first one that has, what's his name? Hispanic guy, but he can also speak German. He was going to be like a big star at that time, and then it just didn't work out. He's one of the guys that's taken, and then he's like speaking German. Like some of the twists in there are good. Some of the acting is good. The torture aspect is not. He borderlines on too much.
I think the idea of Hostel
is too much.
I think it's more the setup isn't worth the payoff. Like, do you get where I'm going with that?
Yeah, like the twist at the end where, I'm spoiling it, but let's be honest, if you wanted to watch,
right?
If you wanted to watch those movies, you would have by now.
Yeah,
they're not compelling. The twist, I can't remember if it's the first one or the second one, where the girl gets out And how she gets out is the condition is that somebody has to die. Somebody paid for a death. Somebody has to die.
Second one.
Yeah. Okay. And then she's like gets up and kills the guy that paid to torture her. She cuts his nuts off and his balls unravel. And then they're like, is that enough? And the Eastern European guys are like, they look at each other like, yeah, that counts. He paid for a death and he got a death.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
I was like, it has a bit of a tongue in cheek thing. I think the first one is it Jay Hernandez? Is that his name?
I think so, yeah. And
something.
It's like the three guys go to a hostel. They pick up a bunch of these Eastern European ladies.
If I'm butchering his name, I'm sorry. It's been literally 20 years since I've seen it. But I remember he could speak German, and he was a genuinely pretty good actor. And I felt like he was kind of above the material.
Yeah. I mean, overall, am I glad I saw it? No, but I'm glad I can say now it's off my list.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
I still haven't been able to sit down and watch Green Hell because that's Eli's homage to Cannibal Holocaust and Faces of Death and that sort of stuff. I just think I don't like something that markets itself on like people's fingernails breaking off.
Yeah,
it's too much.
Like it should be part of it, but not the spectacle. But moving on,
the best thing Eli Roth ever did was act in Piranha 3D.
That's true. All right, so moving on to our next story. Once again, we're going to be talking about a story from comingsoon.net. This one confirms, in their words, that the GTA 6 release date is confirmed to stick. So they say Take-Two Interactive Software Inc. confirmed that Grand Theft Auto 6 remains scheduled for release on November 19th, 2026 in its fiscal third quarter 2026 earnings report on February 3rd of this year. The company referenced the title in the forward outlook for the fiscal year of 2027. Strauss Zelnick, chairman and CEO of Take-Two Interactive, stated, quote, with ongoing momentum across many of our businesses, the highly anticipated launch of Grand Theft Auto 6 on November 19th, we continue to project record levels of net bookings in fiscal 2027, which we believe will establish a new financial baseline for our business, set us up on a path to enhance profitability and provide further balance sheet strength and flexibility. That's just a lot of whatever. The earnings,
it's the I call it shareholder masturbation.
Yeah, basically, you're gonna get so much money.
Here's the stuff the legal department says you have to say. Here's the stuff you need to say to make sure that old rich white guys will still give us money and invest in this. And it's their way of saying we're doing well in way too many words.
Yeah. So the earnings release listed the games in the company's future product lineup as, quote, Rockstar Games, Grand Theft Auto 6, PS5, Xbox Series X/S. Good luck. Release on November 19th, 2026.
It'll play on S. It's just going to be 720p.
Yeah. The filing did not announce a new release date. The reports outlined earlier changes to the game's schedule. It said the company initially planned to release the title in 2025. Later, it was delayed to May 2026. The company then moved the release date to November 19th, 2026 in an announcement made last November. On the same earnings report, Take-Two listed key contributors to quarterly performance. It said, quote, the largest contributor to net bookings were NBA 2K26, Grand Theft Auto Online, and Grand Theft Auto 5, along with other titles in its portfolio. Now, I've heard some interesting stuff about Grand Theft Auto 6, and I think this is honestly a really, really good idea. There is talk they're going to delay the physical release of this game by a few months to at least a few weeks minimum. Here's why. Leaks. You can't control it at the manufacturing level. Someone can and will steal it. But if it's on a server...
This also tells me, one, that the game is going to be mostly playable from the disc.
Yes.
Or the data on the disc will be what's copied over. Mm-hmm. If this was going to be just like the equivalent of a game key card, you know how I think it's Bethesda games do this, where and even it's not 2K, maybe it's EA in that, where they put like a 200 megabyte launcher and then the whole game has to download. If that was the case and this was basically a game key, they could easily just not have the server allow downloads until release, right?
Yeah.
Or only enable accounts that have like for instance, example, when we get a press copy, pull the curtain back a little bit. if it's on PC when we get a review copy, and you probably haven't done that much because you don't get as many PC releases, but I have in the last little bit, and so does Ken. When they send you a code via Steam, a lot of times you install the game and then they go, here is your special access code that you put into the program that then lets you enable a beta. And it'll be like for press only beta build or whatever. And that's how they do that's how they do like version control so that stuff doesn't get out. And also if you were to like, I don't know, film your footage or whatever, they would know that you were the one leaking it, sort of thing. With consoles for people, one of two things happens. One, you'll get a code, and if it's like nearing the launch, like within a few days of launch when they give it to you, you'll just get the retail edition. And then other times you'll get, if we get a game like a month ahead, which does sometimes happen for longer games, or if there's like if the company trusts that you're not going to be somebody who leaks stuff, sometimes you'll get it several weeks early, and you'll get the code, you install it, and the version you get will be a pre-release version that doesn't have the final like day one patch on it. But essentially it's the same. The only difference is it won't show up in your list of games right away, or it'll have a different name when you download it. It'll say like, the Sunshine something something something. You're like, what's that? If you look at your download list, and when you go to launch the game, it will be a different game, and it's sort of to mask it in case when you go online it shows your followers or whatever what you're playing, and if you haven't turned that off. Well, if they wanted to, they could just turn off the servers and be like, you're blacked out, that version doesn't play. Well, all of this roundabout way is to say that this means that they're launching the game on physical, and you probably won't need to connect to the internet initially to install the game and play it. So that gives me hope that the game will be playable when servers shut down eventually. But also, it is kind of smart because there's always, with a game this big, there's going to be somebody who's clout chasing that wants to show the game off first and spoil everything.
Well, I remember, this was years ago. Do you remember when people were stealing stuff off of trucks in New York City? Like, I can't remember. I think it was Marvel versus Capcom Infinite or something. It was a fighting game. I think it was Smash Brothers as well. People were stealing pre-release copies. And it was fucking everywhere.
I want to say, was it Mario Odyssey that was stolen in the first year of the Switch? I think.
I remember that, yeah.
And there was another Mario game. I don't know which one it was.
Was it Luigi's Mansion? I know it wasn't that.
No. I think Smash Ultimate was leaked early because somebody stole it. Oh, it was Zelda.
Skyward Sword, or not Skyward Sword, Breath of the Wild or whatever it is.
I think it was. I think it was Breath of the Wild, and I believe as far as like bigger companies, I think Sony was pretty good about not having their stuff leak. But wasn't it, and it wasn't Xbox, because Xbox will, basically no Xbox game on Series X comes on the disc. Almost none of them ever did. It was all download and version control because of that of the Smart Play stuff. They can just turn it right off. But I'm gonna say, I'm pretty sure it was EA stuff. Was it Jedi, one of the Jedi games?
I think it might have been Jedi Survivor. Because you're kind of triggering a memory, but I can't remember what
I don't think it was Survivor, because Survivor specifically launched in a bad state and people found that out after it came out. It might have been the first Jedi
Fallen Order.
Yeah, it might have been Fallen Order, and I'm also thinking it wasn't COD, because that's all version controlled by servers. There was another single player thing. Was it Bethesda?
I know Skyrim had, maybe it was Fallout. I know it wasn't 76. I know that.
No, it was something there, and I do think, again, it might have been a 2K game as well, or two that there's been a few, I would say, high profile games, usually Nintendo.
Or Capcom.
It was based, Nintendo's was simply because the Switch one was hacked, and as soon as somebody got it, they could ROM dump it and throw it on the net. You will not see that with Switch 2 as long as the physical copies don't get stolen. But you won't see, at least for a long time, copies of it online, but you could potentially see footage from stuff coming up. But yeah, man, like this is such a big game that they like. People think, oh, who's not going to buy it if it comes out? If somebody leaks it, there is potential that they sold like 150 million copies of GTA 5. If even 5% of people that bought that, might not buy the new one because of something they see in a leak, they could lose almost 1 million sales.
Yeah. And
So
last I heard, the game is not feature complete. I think there's going to be another delay, but if it does come out, no game is going to stand a chance against it.
I think it was Red Dead 2.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Maybe you're right, actually.
I think it was the original version of Red Dead 2 that got leaked.
Yeah, because I seem to recall I don't think we reported on it, but I think
no.
I've got a memory that I can't quite explain, but yeah.
It's and I do know that I think not them, but whatever, was it Aspire or somebody that did the port of the GTA trilogy that looked really bad?
Yes.
That leaked early too.
Yeah.
But I seem to think it was Red Dead 2 that had copies like fall off a truck.
Yeah. Like, I don't know. I mean, I'm looking forward to this game like quite a bit. But if it gets delayed, I'm not really offended. I'd much rather it be in a super polished state.
I have never beaten any of them ever.
Honestly, if I were to recommend anyone to play it for storyline purposes, ignore the multiplayer shit. Grand Theft Auto 5 is fucking fantastic. Grand Theft Auto 4 is a little rough.
I was so bad at playing. I kept dying, escaping the bank heist at the beginning.
Yeah, God, you're terrible.
That's how bad I was when I tried playing it years and years and years ago. I should just install it on my PC, try to max it out, and just do it.
Yeah, like honestly, it's a really compelling story, and when you get the really hard ending where everybody has to face everybody, it's such a fun time. It's such a blast. And if you want to see the alternate endings, just watch those on YouTube. But Grand Theft Auto 5 was such a fun time. And nobody plays it the same way twice because you get all this money and you can buy properties and you can do safe houses and fix your cars. It's really fun. Like, I had a really fun time with it for a really
what
good
I should
long
do
time,
is
but I hated
I don't
the
remember.
multiplayer.
I don't remember if there's cheat codes because there used to be cheat codes in like.
There are, but they're really annoying to input.
Maybe on PC it's easier.
Yeah, maybe. Well, yeah, like there'll be consoles or trainers or whatever. There'll be options.
Because like I'm not. Like if I were to do that and if I were to record it and stream it or something, I would not be doing it for the sake of like, look how good I am or how hard. I would do it for fun just to get my own reaction from it and see. So like I wouldn't feel afraid of cheating with it because it's not a game I ever wanted to play otherwise. But like just to see the story and the immersion that I maybe should do that.
You really should, because like I think you'd have because you like crime movies, and I had a really fun time with it.
I have,
and the performances are so good.
Like since I've gotten my old consoles hooked up, I got a PS3 and I got a 360. I have 4.
4 is a really good game. Now, Cousin Roman is fucking annoying, but Nico's story is so good. And even the DLC for Lost in the Damned, which is referenced in GTA 5, and the Ballad of Gay Tony. Gay Tony is such a fun bit of DLC too.
In 3, I got maybe 20% through the game and then just stopped playing it. And then Vice City came out and I spent the entirety of like literally 200 hours
just messing around, right?
Just driving around listening to music. I swear to God, that was my so I had no idea what the plot was.
Yeah, that's another thing too. Like you'll love the soundtrack in 4 and 5.
So for San Andreas, my brother did a full playthrough that he loved. That was his favorite. I would play a little bit, but I don't know the story. I really don't know the stories. I did beat with a friend GTA 1.
Yep.
But I don't like GTA 1. Like I never liked that stuff. We just did a sleepover one day when we were in grade school and we just were passing the controller back and forth and tried to beat it. So we beat. Now I think we entered codes to beat it because we were like, fuck this. But yeah, like I should at least do 5 and 4. I think I should probably try.
Yeah, like 100%. Like give them a whirl. I think you'll have a really fun time. Like I said, Nico is a great story, especially now. And Franklin and Trevor and Mike are really good protagonists, and the radio stories and the radio DJs are phenomenal. The playlist is great. Now, the playlist has changed over time because certain songs have fallen off due to licensing. But
I'm
if you're
sure
playing
if
it on PC, you can import your own music. So,
Well, I was going to say, if I'm playing it on PC, I know that there's mods in that. Like, I wouldn't want to go crazy. I just want to play it at, like, that's not a game that I should have trouble playing 4K 60 with max settings.
oh yeah,
What I want to do is, if it has the original, there'll be a mod that patches in the old songs, and I would probably just
for sure.
I'd want to get the experience of when it launched. What was it, like 15 years ago?
Oh yeah, but yeah, you tell me what you think. Let's make a commitment to each other.
Yeah.
I will play a game you recommend before the end of the year, which I'm thinking is going to be Persona 4 Golden, because I've been putting that off for a long time.
Yeah,
Play through
yeah.
one of the Grand Theft Autos, and I really recommend you start with 5 before 6 comes out, and just tell me what you think.
I will try to do 5, and depending on hardware specific, like if it turns out to look and play like ass on my PS3 for 4, I might not do 4. I will do 5, and I can make the commitment to you that I will beat 5, and I will try to beat either 4 or Vice City.
Yeah, Vice City, it's an older game, and there's going to be one mission that'll frustrate you. I'll tell you that now.
I will say this. I'm not making difficulty-wise, I will use as many cheats or ways around as
Oh,
possible.
yeah, just do it. You just want the story, because Ray Liotta is amazing.
See, that's what I'm thinking. I'm going to miss him. And also, I'm thinking the reason to do Vice City is that not the setting of the new game?
Yes. So if you want a primer to return to Vice City,
Ken
Rosenberg and all those guys,
see,
you'll love it.
The game's been in development for so long. Do you think that they got homages in there to Liotta?
Ray? Oh, for sure. Sure. They're going to reference stuff.
Because if not, I don't know how long the difference is, or if he dies, or what happens in the game. But, like, do you think that he might have recorded a voice line or two for it?
My guess is something is probably in there, or there'll be like Versetti armaments, or there'll be some reference.
Or like, will there be, like, when you walk up to a TV, will the TV be playing like a clip of something and he'll be in it? You know what I mean? Like, like, because they were making this game for like 10 years, like legitimately. So he was clearly alive for the vast majority of the production.
Yeah, and I think there was some static between him and Rockstar at some point. I don't quite remember it.
He didn't get residuals the way that you do when you're part of a union, because it wasn't. Remember, the voice acting wasn't unionized.
Yeah. So, hopefully something gets sorted. We'll talk about it, which kind of leads me into my next story. This one comes courtesy of Gizmodo.com, and HBO is making a Baldur's Gate TV show. The article reads, Deadline reports that HBO is working with Hasbro to develop a Baldur's Gate TV series, which will be set immediately after the events of Larian's third entry in the beloved RPG series. Craig Mazin, who's been in the at times controversial figure behind HBO's other big ticket video game adaptation, The Last of Us, will create, write, executive produce, and showrun the new series. Jacqueline Lesko, Cecil O'Connor, and Hasbro Entertainment's Gabriel Morano also joined Mazin as executive producers, while Chris Perkins, who I have worked with before, the former senior story designer for Dungeons and Dragons at Wizards of the Coast, who jumped ship from the company to join actual play company and rival TTRPG developer Critical Role last year, will serve as a consultant on the series. Whereas other video game adaptations have decided on trying to hew as closely as possible to the source material, going their own way, or attempting to avoid the issue entirely, Baldur's Gate TV show will have lots of hurdles to contend with to get with its audience on board well before it gathers the party and ventures forth. And that's going to be interesting, because with a game like Baldur's Gate, there's so many variables. What's the canon ending? Who survives? Who's a bad guy? Who's a good guy?
Well,
I can't imagine this.
It's been a few years. Canon, there is no good. Well, I mean, there's less bad endings as you'd expect. There's somewhat optimistic endings, but in most cases, not great.
Yeah, like, I've played through Baldur's Gate start to finish 5 times. I've gotten really good endings, more or less.
Did you get the one where everybody just turns into the squid things?
I've gotten a sad ending once. I've gotten tragic endings, which I think are really beautiful in some
Yeah.
ways.
I missed an entire character, so I didn't even realize there was a character missing in my party.
Yeah, like, and that's something too. Do you get Jahira? Do you get Minx? Is Minthara still alive?
Oh, I looked at like a guide as I was going, because obviously it had been in early access before we got a review code for it. So I was a little bit lucky, and I was like, how do you get him and the space hamster?
Yeah,
It is necessary. You must have him, and it's not the easy. You have to kill people by putting them to sleep and not letting them die while chasing them and stuff. And when you get him, he's awesome.
yeah,
But
and you have to have Jahira at a certain companion level.
yeah,
It's hard. I mean, it's fun because he's voiced by Matt Mercer and he's
I
fucking
mean,
wonderful.
it's not Jim Cummings, but it's close enough.
Yeah, it's good. So I'm very curious to see how they're going to pull this off. If they put the money into this,
If I
what's
had
this
to
going
guess,
to look like?
if I had to guess, I think it's going to have a narrator, and I think it's going to be narrated by that god that you rescue. I forget his name, the skull guy.
Yeah,
At
Withers.
your
Yeah,
camp, which again, it's not required in the game to get him, but if you get him, is how you get you can get extra characters that for the
well, you
multiplayer
do
aspect.
kind of need him because you need him to transition to certain areas.
Yeah, but he's not like, you don't have to interact that much with him.
No,
And then
yeah, he's there
when you
purely as if
I
you
think
die.
when
or if you
you
get
is it
hired.
when you beat the game with a certain amount of completion, you see an ending with him, and then if you do something else, you get another ending with him. I think, like the true ending, and
Yeah.
where it reveals that he's essentially one of the elder gods.
Yeah, he's basically like an avatar of the god of fate, or at least that's how I interpret it. I'm
Yeah,
sure people are yelling at their screens right now, but
yeah, I'm sorry if I'm not super deep in the lore. It's just that from what I remember, because I remember I played it I think before you did, because I got the review copy before
yeah.
it came out.
Mhm.
And I played a demo of the first act. Like I played the first act when we got a review copy during the pandemic.
Yeah.
So I played it like 3 or 4 years before, and I was like, this is pretty good. And it was already good, and it got so much better. But anyway, I believe he makes a comment in the game that he's like, I find you interesting and different. And basically saying that that he's going to keep his eye on you, and that there's things that will, for fate, that will change the world and the realms and blah 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 blah. And it's hinted that he's getting ready for other gods to perhaps take notice and have some sort of climactic war.
Yeah, he's meant to stop the Dead Three, Bane, Merkel, and I can't remember the other name. And there are certain cycles of the Favoridian. I could get really deep.
And so it's something about how he's the god. They're not really supposed to directly influence things, and he's kind of gone you've interested me. Fuck it, let's see where this goes. Is what he's doing, and I got the feeling that he would be a good narrator for this. The other thing that it sets up, from what I remember, different endings. Like you said, canon. It's hard to tell what the canon is. I feel the interesting way to go is to have the Dark Fate ending, where you've
the Dark Urge tab. You think that's the canon? You're not wrong, actually.
I think they're going to work into it a little bit, and you know what I think they're going to work into it. Remember the deal you can make, not with that, but the deal you can make with the devil?
Mizora, yeah. Or
Yeah.
Raphael. Which one? The chick or the guy?
The guy.
Yeah,
the devil.
yeah.
That he's willing to fund you and do stuff. I went and fucking killed him in his home, which was hard.
Yes,
Very hard.
It was.
And it turns out that I completely altered the storyline of what was going to happen.
Yep.
I get the feeling that he'll play a major part in it.
Yeah, I think they'll bring back, because Mizora and him all have this tied to Avernus, which ties into Zariel, who's I think she's the first layer of the Nine Hells, one of the major players there. My guess is they'll do something with the Gith Yankee still when it comes to the Queen of the Undying. It's going to be interesting. What I want to know is, will Karlach still be in it? Will she have had to gone to hell, or did she accept becoming a mind flayer and now she can't die?
I never got her.
Oh, really? You missed Carl? She's the best character.
Yes.
Best fucking romance in the
And I
game.
also missed getting the dog.
Oh, Scrap. Did you get the owl bear cub?
Yes.
Yeah, I brought him to the final fight and he was fucking awesome. But yeah, like
I killed his mom and he's like, and I'm like, oh no, what have I done?
Yeah, like Baldur's Gates as a TV series, this is what I see. You cannot do what you want in 8 episodes. You need to plan this series out to be longer to make people feel fulfilled. If you're going to have all the canon characters like Will, if you're going to have Shadowheart, all these main characters.
Find the balance between dark fantasy of Game of Thrones. I can't watch the spinoffs because they look bad to me.
Like Night of the Seven Kingdoms is pretty good. I do like that.
Does it have the horrible costumes and wigs that the prequel had?
I don't think so. Now, Blair did watch all of House of the Dragon. She says it does get better later on, but I couldn't get past the first season. And I'm
Doctor Who in a bad wig having ass sex is just not interesting to me.
Yeah, for me, I didn't. Once the girl grew up, the stories became less interesting to me. I liked her when she was like the teenager, and I thought she was dealing with a lot of really hard stuff. And there's the guy who's called like the Crab King or whatever. I thought he was cool, but anyway,
like there's
Night of Seven Kingdoms.
But yeah, basic. Okay, I will check out Seven Kingdom then. I had avoided because I was like, it's going to be more of the same. But if it's not, I'll check it out.
Yeah.
Find the balance between the darker fantasy with like maybe a little bit of comedy of that, and the light, super poppy Dungeons and Dragons show, or movie. Like that works for a movie. I don't know if it works for a series the same way with that level of bubbliness.
Yeah.
So find that balance between, and a good thing is like you've got to have Boo, you've got to have the hamster if you're going to have any comedy in it. You've got to have the hamster.
And the talking cat of Tara. You have to have her.
Yes. You also...
Starion is mandatory.
Yes, and at that point, do you cast the same voice actor to play him in real person?
I don't know, because he's a buff dude. He's huge. But you need that voice because that's what carries part of the character.
So I think Newborn could do it. You just maybe cast a little different, little more shirts on.
Yeah.
And then the rest of the actors, you could cast whomever for the most part.
I think the guy who plays Will could probably pull it off.
Yeah, and who's the guy? Again, it's been a couple of years. Who's the guy you pull out of the portal that has the curse?
Gale. I could see him. And again, you just need someone who speaks in an English accent who's a little bit flighty. He could work. I think the hardest parts the cast will be the women. I think if you mess up Karlach, you're gonna make people really sad. Shadowheart, she has the thing is, it's her mannerisms that really sell the character. And when you get into her story, like, I don't know if you completed her entire quest line.
Yes.
So
what choice did you make the choice to?
Save her parents? I saved her parents. And she became a good person.
Did not.
Oh, so you stayed with her as a shark. And that's another thing too. Like, there's so many intricacies with this. Like,
she was like cursed, but then like I think I bound my soul to hers so that if I went against my vow, it would kill her too or something.
Interesting.
There's a bunch of weird shit. So you know who would play? She's maybe not tall enough. The Tomb Raider lady, like not the current one, like
Sophie Turner.
No, the one from before that.
Something. Yeah. I could see that.
There's a few others that could do, but she's maybe not tall enough. But yeah, like some of the other characters, you can make them work. You have to keep the archetypes for the how they behave. But I do think having a narrator will be important. I don't think it's a show that should be told in the way that Game of Thrones, or that is where it's like where you're immersed in it. I feel like every scene needs to have a setup, or every episode needs to have a setup with a narrator being like, here's a tale from Baldur's Gate or something.
Mm-hmm. Oh shit.
Yeah.
There's like, I want it to be successful in so many ways. It would bring me a lot of joy. But something else that's going to bring me joy, and I just found out about this. This story comes courtesy of dreadcentral.com. The Ghostbusters franchise is alive and well, even if Sony's Ghostbusters Frozen Empire wasn't as big a hit as they had hoped last year, $200 million globally. Not only is Netflix working on an animated series, but Sony and Netflix are teaming up on an animated Ghostbusters movie. Chris Pern, Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs 2, was tasked to direct back in 2024, and now Jeff Schneider is reporting that Dollface writer Sam Jarvis is currently penning a new draft. Pern is still tasked to direct, and new info reveals that this film will be a wholly new entry into the franchise. When announced, Deadline explained, quote, not only does the project mean to expand on the Ghostbusters universe, sources close to the development of the film seeing this as something that could do for the IP what Beyond the Spider-Verse films have done for Spider-Man. For the series, Alec Keelan was announced as writer, showrunner, and executive producer. Jason Reitman, Ghostbusters Afterlife, will produce for Sony Pictures Animation. If I had a recommendation for this, I would kind of skew this. I'd be okay with them doing the original Ghostbusters as much as they can. Like, if they want to do Peter, Ray, Egon, and Winston, fine. And if they want to draw closer to the original IDW comics, but if they want to do their own spin, like Into the Spider-Verse, I'm okay with that too.
Like,
because
just do Ghostbusters Extreme.
Well, that would be fucking awesome. And I'd love to see them touch and revisit some of those characters, because I know in some of the other tie-in comics, they do visit Kylie, Eduardo, and Ray, and other characters from that series.
Or could this be the World of Ghostbusters concept, where it's about different teams from different
franchises?
Yeah.
Like, there's something that's coming out on Netflix later on this year, and it's Stranger Things Tales from 85. And it takes place between seasons 2 and 3. If they wanted to tell Ghostbusters stories like that, where it's different franchises, but it's still in the same continuous world, I'd be fine with that. Like, years upon years ago, when we ran the podcast Terrible Warriors, I ran a Ghostbusters game, and my pitch for that was there's a Ghostbusters franchise in Hamilton, which was run out of the back of a furniture store, Crazy Bob Kaplansky's furniture store. I actually made up a fake phone number. Yeah, and you could call it, and it was Crazy Bob on the phone. That was a lot of fun. I really wish I still kept a
back when you set up virtual numbers.
Yeah, that was really fun. But my idea was the Toronto Ghostbusters, they're on hard times because supernatural energy was so low. But what they did is they put a mood slime farm underneath Scotiabank. You might be thinking, well, why the hell would you do that? Because Toronto lives and dies by their sports teams. When the Maple Leafs do great, the mood slime is positively charged. When the Raptors are on a tear, the slime is charged. When we have a negative thing, the slime gets upset and you have to deal with it. So maybe supernatural activity goes up and down. And that was the idea. That's how Crazy Bob kept the Ghostbusters in business in Toronto, was like his team tended to the slime farm. And I think expanding the world out into stuff like that, like, have fun, expand the universe, talk about other ghosts. It's not just Sam Hain, the Boogeyman, and Cthulhu. Show me other monsters, show me other teams. Like, if they want to even bring back the female Ghostbusters, if you can find a way to do it in a fun and interesting way, I would love to see maybe that team does R&D or something like that. Because I know,
I feel like multiverse is played out, so it would be a bad choice to make it multiversal with female team or whatever, or women team.
Yeah.
I see, whenever somebody says female, I think of female. I think of like
how the Ferengi said it. Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. So I feel like it's a little harsh. You know, like the all women team. I feel like it works better if it is like, was it Ghostbusters International or Ghostbusters? You know, Ghostbusters Inc. or something. It's like a corporation, and it's like each franchise. And then what they could do is each episode would be focused on a different city with a different team, and the idea is maybe the connecting factor is when they get in trouble, they have to call the franchise headquarters, and that's where they answer it in New York or whatever. And you'll see like cameos from the main team members or what's her name with the glasses.
Yeah, like, and it could be so much fun. And I remember speaking with somebody, I'm not going to reveal their identity, but I was speaking with someone who was working on something like this a couple years ago. A friend of mine who works in Hollywood, and I was like, "What are you going to do with this?" I was like, "Well, here's the cool ideas. I think I've got something." And
I think I know who it is, but I won't say. But
yeah,
I remember you mentioning some stuff, and I was like, "Oh,
yeah." And
they're in the. I think they were in the pitching process, but you know how that only 1 in 10 pitches get made.
Yeah, exactly. Everybody takes a meeting in Hollywood, and where it happens, who knows? And I always thought that the Ghostbusters IP works so much better in animation than it does live action. Because let's be real, Harold Ramis has passed. Ernie Hudson's not getting any younger. Neither
he looks.
is...
Oh, dude is like 78, and he is jacked like he's 40.
Oh yeah, but
he is.
Bill Murray looks tired.
Well, yeah, he like. Winston is in incredible shape in real life, and I hope his health lasts for another 20 years because he is in better shape than like Stallone because there's no steroids. Like if you look at him, people look up the actor Ernie Hudson. He is 78 or 79, and he has the physical fitness and like visual health of somebody who is like 40.
Oh yeah, like Ernie's in great shape, and then Dan Aykroyd, if you can bring him in for voice cameos, great, sure.
Bring him in for voice cameos. Bring him in to brainstorm some ideas of like different ghosts or poltergeists or ideas of monsters of the week. He would probably have some cool ideas.
Yeah, and like everybody else, if you can get a voice cameo, great. I mean, when it comes to dealing with Harold Ramis, what I would do if you wanted to include the character of Egon, I would say, because in the main universe, it's established that he's dead. But if you wanted to reset the clock back to when he was alive, Maurice LaMarche, I would just ask him, like, dude, you did Egon on Real Ghostbusters for years. Will you do it again?
Have him be dead, but you know what you have him be? Yeah, if you do it like, you have him be like haunting the office, but they go to him for ideas, and he could be an unvoiced character that just
does things.
Who points at the screen and it makes like sound effects and stuff.
So he's kind of like Bumblebee from the Transformers movies.
You make him like hanging out with Slimer or whatever.
Yeah, like there's so many ways that this series could go. Because I think, again, I think it'd be more successful in animation than real life.
Try your best to get Rick to do something, because he's doing Spaceballs too, so he's dipping his toes back in the water. But Rick Moranis coming in to do something, I feel like it'd be easier. I feel like it's easier to get him to do a voice for it.
Oh yeah, because honestly, he'd be in the booth for like a couple of days over the course of like a week, and he'd be done.
You could probably get his lines done in a day if it's some cameos.
Oh yeah, yeah. Like as long as it wasn't anything super, plot, driven, or if he's like a major character or whatever. Yeah, just having fun. I mean,
you have him show up, and again,
Annie Potts is still alive.
Yeah, and if you work it in, like if they're doing the idea that we did, if it was international things, you have him show up, and he's the accountant.
He just invoices
for the corporation.
Yeah.
And if you're not doing that, if you're trying to keep it more in the main world, wasn't he the guy that didn't they reference him saying that he's the one that kept the books running for all those years when they were running out of money? He's the one that found ways to keep them, in business. You just make it that he's still their business manager. That's it.
Yeah.
You have him show up and be like, as part of the plot line, like maybe there's some disaster happening. His character shows up, bumbles around, and then you make it the end of the episode. He looks all sad that he left him alone. They're like, "Come on!" and he puts on his gear and goes out with them.
Yeah, or like, I mean, I'd love to see them reference Oscar from Ghostbusters 2. That was Peter and what's her name's kid? Sigourney Weaver's character. I can't remember. Dana and Peter was always hinted that Oscar was his kid. So like, that'd be pretty cool. Maybe he comes into the family business.
What's the Ally McBeal guy?
With
the weird accent in it.
Peter
McNichol.
Yeah. I'd love to see what happened to Johan, right?
Yeah.
Like maybe he's yes, he was possessed by Vigo, but maybe he's still got connections to the Museum of Natural History and Art. And he's like, hey guys, I don't think I trust what's coming in today. Could you run a PK meter over it?
Or like, hello. And then they just don't trust him. And he's just like, something's weird.
Yeah.
And they're like, what do you mean weird? And he just like opens the door and points, and all these like horrifying flashing lights and screams come, and he closes the door, and they're just like, oh, that's what you mean by weird. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Like there's so much that could be done with it, especially like in the medium of animation. You're not held back by spectacle and scale. You can do what you want as long as you're willing to draw it. And even if they did it in the Across the Spider-Verse style, whatever, that's fine. I think it'd be cool. I mean, the thing is it going to appeal to people besides me and you? Can you introduce it?
If it's a movie, like they're saying, like if they could finally do, wasn't Ghostbusters 3 supposed to be them going to hell? Or like
that was the original pitch.
Or not like he said hell, but the idea was going into
hell on earth, basically.
The realm we go to when we die. Not necessarily that it is hell, but like going into like the river Styx or whatever. And and that would have just been too much money for what they thought the return was. But in a cartoon form, you can 100% do that.
Yeah, or you can adapt pieces of the video game from 2009 from Terminal Reality. Like there are so many options, and I really hope it happens. So we will follow up with this as we find out more, but we're going to take a break here on This Week in Geek.net, and we're going to listen to my review of the Paul Thomas Anderson classic movie of Boogie Nights on 4K Ultra HD from our friends over at Warner Brothers. We will be back, guys, right after this, only on thisweekingeek.net.
Jack Warner, filmmaker.
Marker.
I make adult films, exotic pictures.
Hey, who's your daddy? Hey. You got your camera, you got your film, you got your lights, you got your sound, you got your syncing, you got your editing. But if you make a good one, there's practically no end to how much money you can make.
Hey guys, this is Mike the Birdman here. I'm here to talk to you about something really fun we got from our friends over at Warner Brothers Home Entertainment. I'm talking about the 4K Ultra HD plus digital code version of Boogie Nights by director Paul Thomas Anderson. Now, as I found out recently, this is actually Alex, my co-host's favorite movie of all time. And he just spent the last 20 minutes before I recorded this review gushing about it. And I gotta say, this is one of the movies I'm really glad I've had a chance to revisit, because I haven't seen this since probably the early 2000s. I remember watching this with a couple of my friends and my girlfriend at the time. Thought it was fine. I was more excited for the Mark Wahlberg singing The Touch from Transformers as done by Stan Bush than I was anything else. And I never really paid attention to the movie as a whole. While enjoying it, it wasn't really my bag. Now, flash forward to recently here in 2026, watching this in the best possible resolution, and I'm having a reevaluation of this movie, too. So much so, I don't know if I'd call it one of my favorite movies of all time, but I would call it culturally significant, at least to me. While I was watching this, so this is the story of Eddie, who eventually becomes a adult actor named Dirk Diggler, dealing with the porno scene in Southern California in the late 70s into the 80s and moving forward, and all the troubles that he faces. Now, this has an absolutely stacked cast. Mark Wahlberg, Burt Reynolds, Julianne Moore, William H. Macy, John C. Reilly. The list goes on. It's an absolutely outstanding cast and not a bad performance in the entire lot. But what really attracted me to this particular movie this time was I don't listen to many director commentaries, and I've been sick with COVID for the last little bit, so not exactly doing a whole hell of a lot. So I decided to sit down and listen to the director's commentary on this from Paul Thomas Anderson and the cast and crew commentary. These are really good. I was actually quite impressed by them. Just you learn so much. You learn about the friendship that developed between Paul and John C. Reilly, why Burt Reynolds was a nervous guy on set sometimes because he wanted to be really good and he was not used to delivering these long speeches. Mark Wahlberg being a guy who only read 30 pages and he was like, well, do you want me because I'm willing to get into my underwear or because you know I can be something special? And I just get a very genuine response from this director. I gotta say, his credibility in my book has gone up very dramatically. So the movie itself is fantastic. It's never looked or sounded so good. In terms of special features, they also have two things where they, like, I think this is like at like the Alamo Drafthouse or something, or there's like two panels, really insightful. There's a crap ton of extra scenes. There's like a little music video. I think that if I remember correctly, there's additional commentary as well. But the real reason to get this is obviously outside of the outstanding visual and audio presentation, the director and cast and crew commentary are really worth it. If you really want an insight into a guy who I think understands his craft better than anybody I've heard articulate in a really long time and doesn't dress it up or fluff it up, it's a job that they bring passion to. Paul Thomas Anderson may very quickly become one of my favorite directors because of stuff like this. So honestly, Warner Brothers delivery on the 4K Ultra HD plus digital code of Boogie Nights is second to none, and I really think this is one disc you should be adding to your collection.
Christ, you've been up for 2 days.
You're not the boss of me.
Yes, I am.
Oh, you the king, huh?
Yes!
Come on. You are fired! You know what? I'm the biggest star here, man. That's the way it is. You're nothing without me, Jack.
Go crazy?
Don't mind if I do!
Human sacrifice, dogs and cats living together.
Welcome back to This Week in Geek.net. I'm Mike. He's Alex. It's time to get weird, guys, because it is the first weird news of 2026. And what way to start the year than by shoving something up your butt? Courtesy of ctvnews.ca. A hospital in Toulouse, southwest France, confirmed on Sunday that they had treated a man who was admitted with a shell lodged in his rectum after calling a bomb disposal team. A member of staff who insisted on anonymity confirmed the reporting in the local newspaper La Dépêche de Midi. They, the medical team, discovered it and they called the bomb disposal team, said the source. The patient was admitted overnight, Saturday to Sunday. He told staff at Ringuli Hospital that he had introduced the object into his rectum himself, the newspaper had reported. The team in the operating room found themselves having to extract a, quote, collectible shell nearly 20 centimeters long, nearly 8 inches. They called the bomb disposal team because fears about the risk of an explosion. Emergency services in Haute-Garonne said firefighters had also been sent to ensure fire protection during the bomb disposal team's intervention. An explosive device has been neutralized, they added, without elaborating. A fire service spokesperson for the local hospital service both told the AFP that they had no additional information on the matter. I believe this was a World War II shell.
Shell. I assumed like seashell.
Oh no, this was a fully operational, from what I understand, munition. This was a artillery round of some sort.
Of course.
And this guy just decided, hey, it's Saturday night. What do you do? It's not all right for fighting. It's okay for putting something up your butt, I guess. I'm so glad.
Fun times. Party boy.
Yeah,
Fun
well,
times.
it's weird. Like, the original place I saw this article was not on CTV, but it was another outlet, and they'd quoted the French doctors as saying, "We've seen all sorts of foreign objects inserted into the rectum over the year, and we're all familiar with the Jackass sketch with Ryan Dunn putting the toy car up his butt."
Or the old, and when I say old, I mean like 55-year-old, like rumors that spread at like everywhere. The whole Richard Gere with the hamster.
Yeah, and it's like okay,
like urban myths that just weren't true but spread like crazy.
Oh yeah, and it's like people do strange things for whatever reason. I mean, I can't remember what show I was watching, but I'm pretty sure it was on TLC, obviously. And it was like somebody who inserted glass, like a light bulb or something,
Ugh.
into their rectum, and I'm thinking,
Anyway, warning
oh
people.
God.
We won't get graphic, people. We're just saying that now. But people sometimes do gross things because they're compelled to.
Yeah, and it's so strange because like it's such a risk to. What if something goes wrong?
I think in that case, without going too much into the psyche, and I'm not a doctor, I
Is it the
get
thrill of the
feeling
danger?
some of it is, oh, it might happen. That makes it more exciting. I think it's a similar aspect of the idea of people secretly having sex in public places.
Okay.
We might get the sex is exciting, but it's secondary to we might get caught, or maybe it'd be great if we did get caught. That sort of thought, like
that weird thrill.
It's the fear of being in trouble or humiliation can make people want to do things more.
Yeah, and like again, because this gentleman had put something explosive in himself. Okay, that's fine. You're endangering yourself. I'm more concerned the fact that he's endangering others. Because clearly he went to the hospital with unusual pain. I'm thinking, well, what the fuck did you think it was going to be, man?
Well, this sounds more like he did it and then got panicked and he's like, I have to get this out.
Yeah, like there's just so much that could have went wrong. Like, because if this had exploded, that's not going to be insignificant. Like, he's going to be pink misted, of course, but the chance for other people to get hurt, that's a little extreme. So hopefully this guy's okay and, he won't be coming back to the OR anytime soon. Just practice safe and make sure it's got a flared bottom, I guess. This next story.
There's like, I don't go on TikTok, but like my Instagram, occasionally I'll be flipping through, or on Facebook, there's like a EMT guy. He's probably in his 50s, but the way he looks like in the States, and his reaction videos or things are always people looking at, like, it'll be somebody looking at something and it's clear they want to shove it in themselves, and then it'll cut to him and it's just him like motioning to come closer to the camera and then just shaking his head going no.
I picture disappointed Dennis Leary from Spider-Man 2 sort of.
It's a disappointed look, and the look is not no like I'm judging you, it's no, because that is going to be a hospital visit.
Yeah, like, you are making my job harder, sir or ma'am.
It's literally the look of, I don't care what happens to you, but this is going to make my life as an EMT much worse.
Yeah, like, and I'm friends with a couple of EMTs here in Guelph, and I've heard some stories. And
me too. I've got nurses in the family, in the extended family, and I'm like, so what's the worst thing you've ever seen? They're like, we won't tell you. And I'm like, what? We're not going to talk about it because they don't, not because they don't think I can handle it, because they don't want to relive it.
Yeah, my sister-in-law is a nurse practitioner, and I've heard some pretty amusing anecdotes, I shall say. So this next story,
anytime for anybody listening that happens to have people in the medical field or knows around it or is currently seeking a job in that, just know that when a family member says they don't want to talk about it, or they say I had to bring an extra bottle of peppermint to work, that's when you know it's bad, because they put the peppermint under their nose so they don't gag.
Yeah. Let's just say, and if you know anybody who works in an old age home, you will hear some stories.
Yeah, well,
I will leave it at that.
And I also know somebody who was a nurse in hospice care, and after a few years they had to leave, because it's just you don't think about it as a person, like, just us, you're like, oh, you're a nurse. It's like, yeah, but you're a nurse in the area of the hospital or in hospice care where people don't ever come to you to get better, ever.
Yeah.
Like that's end of life care. It takes a certain person and certain nerves to be able to do that for your career. You never ever see anybody ever get better. So, like, hats off to those people, and they see horrible stuff. I don't know what's worse, working there or working in the department that has to deal with people shoving things up their butt.
I think I'd rather deal with butt stuff than
Me
deal
too,
with that.
because usually you live, unless it's a bomb that fucking explodes.
Exactly. So horrifying to potentially tasty. This next story comes to us courtesy.
Yep. Horrifying to potentially tasty.
Yes, that's right. So I'm going to talk about our next story, which comes courtesy of The Independent. When it gets cold in most places, it might snow. When it gets cold in Florida, iguanas drop from trees and apparently end up as pizza toppings. Buck's Coal Fried Pizza in northern Palm Beach posted a video on Instagram that shows shop's owner Frankie Sears and South Florida fishing content creator Ryan Izuardo, I think that's his name, I'm just going to call him Ryan from here on out, making a pizza topped with bacon, venison, cheese, and bits of iguana. Ryan Izuardo enjoyed the creation. Seriously did not partake in the pie. Iguanas don't do well in the cold. When Florida experiences unusually cold temperatures, the cold-blooded creatures freeze up and can drop from trees. This leaves them vulnerable to passing cars and other animals. Because green iguanas are considered an invasive species, some Floridians on February 1st and 2nd were collecting the animals to send them to Florida Fish and Wildlife Conservation Commission for humane destruction or adoption. A temporary regulation removed restrictions on removing cold stunned iguanas from public places during the 2-day period. Iguana meat is edible and enjoyed by some in Mexico and throughout Central America and now Florida. A representative from the United Department of Agriculture's Meat and Poultry Hotline told the Tampa Bay Times that the meat is safe and must be processed correctly, but said eating it is a, quote, personal preference. Florida wildlife officers collected more than 5,000 cold stunned iguanas during the 2-day collection period. The FWC urged members of the public to collect them from the wild to take them to designated drop-off sites, the Tampa Bay Times reports. As for the pizza shop, it doesn't seem like the iguana bits are going to be a staple for future pies. The pizza was made only for the video and wasn't intended for public consumption. Ryan told the paper the meat tastes similar to frog's legs, calling it a little sweet and, quote, very good. Try iguana, honestly. In the Fallout universe, there's a thing called iguana on a stick.
I've had chocolate frog's legs at the Science Center, which is did Doug Ford close it already?
Yes, and it's still standing, and it's completely fine. But please continue.
Okay. My favorite place to go to as a kid when I visit my grandparents was the Ontario Science Center. And I knew that place like the back of my hand, where like I didn't need a map. I was like 9 or 10 years old and I would get free reign of that place. Like nobody's going to kidnap you when you're in there. It's there's security everywhere. It's all safe. Yada, yada, yada. I mean, this is also 25 years ago, 30 years ago. But anyway, I would go and I would go around all the places. But if you walked in and you went, everything else was like downhill, like you would take the elevator down, but upstairs was where they would do the temporary stuff. Like they'd have like that wasn't permanent fixtures. And sometimes they do things like, it was like a science thing that was, hey, in the future, protein is going to be hard to come by, so we need to try alternative proteins. And it would be like a whole setup with like a whole bunch of vendors and scientists showing off how you can cook bugs and stuff to have as protein and food. So I tried like different mealworms and things that were spiced up to be like popcorn and potato chip flavors, and chocolate covered frog's legs that were, you know, they don't have any bones, or like it's the meat from it but covered in chocolate. And what did I try? It was like honey barbecue flavored fried grasshoppers.
Mm-hmm.
So I tried all that cool stuff, and people like getting grossed out. I was like, no, like you pay good money if you go to a store and buy exotic snacks like that here, you pay like $5 for a handful. So I was like, I'll try all that stuff. I'm a kid, so I tried all that stuff there. So I've tried that. I'd 100% try iguana.
Yeah, I mean, like, I love to try anything weird. And a couple years ago, my sister Shannon and my friend Liam, my brother Liam, had brought over this weird plate of exotic stuff. And I remember I tried frog's legs, I tried escargot, and I want to say I tried some other unusual meat or meat byproduct of some type. And when it came to escargot, it wasn't bad. I didn't mind it, actually. I thought the frog's legs were fine, but I'm thinking, what's the big deal here? I've always wanted, it's funny, I went to a convention, the first time I went to Niagara Falls Comic-Con a year before last, there was a guy selling kangaroo meat and alligator meat, and I'm really sad I didn't go by the booth and buy that. Now, we have a market by, me and Alex live pretty close to a world-famous farmer's market called St. Jacobs.
Yeah.
And there's almost always a person there selling unusual meat. Now, I love venison and I love buffalo, and I actually do keep buffalo pepperettes in my fridge, not because I'm indigenous and that's what we eat. No, because buffalo's really freaking good if you can get it processed correctly. Even venison jerky can be done tremendously well. I love unusual fishes. Like one of the best fishes I ever had was a mahi-mahi, oddly enough, here in Guelph before I lived here back in 2005, I want to say. But yeah, like when it comes to something like iguana and lizards, I'm always very curious. Like, and this is going to be a really roundabout way of saying this. If you guys remember, I reviewed the game Snake Eater a couple of months ago. Yeah. And in Metal Gear Solid 3, Snake eats everything in the jungle. And I remember thinking, I wonder what Snake tastes like, because, you know, I watch a lot of shows like Naked and Afraid and stuff like that, and they're killing snakes. They're killing these smaller alligators whose names I can't remember.
I think I've had kangaroo once.
What does that taste like?
I don't remember. It might have been part of a jerky.
Mm-hmm.
I know. I'm just trying to think of the odd things I've had. I haven't had shark, but I've wanted to try it. My mom had shark in Barbados when she was a teenager in her 20s. I've had obviously squid, and that, like, to any of our listeners that are from like Pacific Islands or like Asian countries, like it might sound weird. It's like white people talking about how they have. I live in a landlocked part of this country, of this gigantic country. It's not a common part of my culture to eat a ton of seafood, right? So if I'm saying that, if I was on the East Coast or West Coast, I'd have a lot more. Like, I didn't have lobster till I was like 20. You know what I mean?
Wow.
Because of where I lived and because of the pricing. Like, a lobster on the East Coast costs like nothing comparatively, right? And that's why I like the crab. I'd only ever had crab at a Chinese restaurant at an all-you-can-eat buffet. You know what I mean? Like, it's
man, I need to make you my crab at some point.
I know it's but you know how expensive it is. So that's my background. I've had scallops and that sort of stuff in certain fishes. I don't like cod, but like I do try to try everything at least once. I've had emu burgers. I've had ostrich burgers.
Yep.
And
I love ostrich.
And I mean, in the 90s when that wasn't that common, I had that stuff. My grandpa used to get that stuff. Costco was one of the first places you could get that here, of all places. I've had emu. I've had that.
You've had bison, right? Bison and
yes. Yes, I've had. Okay, my friend from high school, his dad worked with a bunch of hunters. Like they come out here for work, like to work like in blue collar jobs. But then they would go hunting, and then they would always come back with like moose and deer and stuff. So I think I had deer once. Moose. I know something weird about moose. How you don't have enough nutrients off of it to live off of. Something weird like that.
It's very gamey. It's
gamey, but no, but there's something about how there's not enough protein within it or something to sustain. There's some weird thing with it. But anyway, I've had moose meat, which is really gamey, but it was done in a stew, and oh my God, was it good? It's very different, but like when I say different, it's like as different from beef as pork is from beef, but doesn't taste like anything else. Like, if I ate moose anywhere in the world now, I would go, that's moose. I know what that is. It's distinct is the best way to describe it. The deer meat I had, I couldn't tell the difference. I think it tasted like something, but moose was very distinct. Shark, I don't think I've had. Snake, I can't remember if that was part of, it might have been part of I think I had snake meat in a pepperette jerky. Like, my brother went down to the States and picked up a bunch of weird things when he was in Texas. That was like all these jerkies. So I had a bunch of obscure animals as beef jerky or pepperette style things, and I'll have to look up the company that made it, but it was a bunch of animals like that. I think snake was one of them. It was either, no, it was alligator. It was alligator jerky.
And how was that?
Very tough, but spiced well. And I was like, what does that taste like? And my brother's like, lizard. And I'm like, how do you know? He's like, because he had a couple different things. I'm like, what does that taste? I couldn't figure out what that taste was. He's like, it's lizard. And people are like, oh, it tastes like chicken. It doesn't fucking taste like chicken. The texture's a little bit like it, but I'm like, what does that taste? And it's like lizard. And the best way to describe it is, now that I think about it, the frog was a little close to that when I had frog. So long roundabout way is that, like, if you're not used to eating, like, if you're, I would say, like, if you're like of European descent, in North America and in Europe, you're not likely eating a lot of lizard or a lot of frog or a lot like you're not usually eating a lot of insects, a lot of amphibious like somewhat amphibious creatures, or a lot of cold-blooded creatures other than just like regular fish. You know
There
what I mean?
was a guy. There's a guy that I watch on YouTube. His name's Sunny, and I think his show is called Best Food Review Show Ever. And he lives in South East Asia, and he travels all around and does a lot of cool street food challenges. And there was something that he did I found very interesting, and it was called The Biggest Shrimps You Could Try, right? And he tried these things, and they were called rice patty shrimp, and they look like little bugs. But the thing is, you throw them in a wok, and you eat literally the entire exoskeleton. You eat all their feelers and everything.
Really?
Yeah, and it was really fascinating. And then he went up like, here's another one. And the thing he did, the last one he did, because this shrimp is something like $27 per, and it was this giant tiger shrimp. Like the thing was like half the size of my arm.
Where they're like the size of a lobster, but it's a shrimp.
Yeah, and it was so incredible, and I've learned so much about it. And there's also other food from Eastern Africa that is very interesting, where they kill an animal like a goat or a cow or something, and they turn the blood into a soup. And I'm very curious. Like I don't think I would try it because the risk of parasites scares me.
Well, that's parasites. Same with like the reason there are cultures that will eat brains of animals and the problem is you can get prion disease and stuff from that.
Yeah.
So like you eat what is readily available to you in your culture, right? Like it's not a judgment call. It's I have the option to not have that risk, so I choose not to.
Yeah.
And I won't go out of my way to try something that could give me that risk is the best way to describe it. At the same time, I'm willing and open to try new things. You are more of a texture person than me when it comes to like you're more adverse to things like I remember I showed Michael video of the Gong Show when they brought that back and people chewing up bananas and spitting it into each other's mouths and you almost ralphed all over the whole place while I killed myself laughing. That doesn't bother me, but there are certain textures that do. I think like biting into like squishy eyeballs and like certain
anything
like,
gelatin,
yeah, or like the bugs and that with the legs, if they're still sort of moving, that there are certain textures I have trouble with. And I know that like the weirdest thing that I don't like is I cannot eat scalloped potatoes. I can eat every ingredient in scalloped potatoes. I can eat everything prepared. That preparation together, it's not even that the taste tastes bad to me. It touches my tongue and I start to barf.
See, I'm the same way with liver. It's a texture thing.
Yeah. And the same thing. Liver, it's the taste for me actually makes me gag. So and I've tried it. It's not a matter of me being a picky eater as a kid. I have tried every few years to try a sampling of it, prepared different ways. I can't do it. I can't do organ meat and I can't do, out of all the weird ones, it's scalloped potatoes. It's the one normal food that I can't handle. And it's
I can't handle sweet potatoes.
And yet I like sweet potatoes. I don't like squash.
Same here.
It's the flavor so much. The texture doesn't bother me. The flavor, for the most part, occasionally flavors will make me gag. But for texture wise, for whatever reason, scalloped potatoes I can't. I would give things a try. I would be hesitant for like the whole shrimp and that. I feel like the exoskeleton thing, it would be weird. But then again,
right?
I bring it back to the fact that I actually really liked the deep fried, like the fried barbecued, like toasted grasshoppers. That was actually much better than I expected. It is kind of weird when you get a leg stuck in your teeth though.
Yeah, like there's so many foods out there that I'm very curious about, and then we'll move on to a different topic.
Okay.
But I really want to mention this one.
Hey Michael, you want some fried gluten?
No. But the one thing that
remember that?
I do from Satan's Pantry. Oh boy. But there's this one thing that I saw again on the same food review show. They were in Dubai.
Yeah.
And this was like it was like a $1,500 meal. It's meant to feed like a group of people. And it was camel. And they had the thing all prepared that was like bathed in saffron and all these spices. It looked incredible. But the thing I was most curious about, I don't like fats because I don't like fat on my meat. It tastes weird. But when they cooked the camel hump, They said the fat tasted like butter, and I'm like, and that's interesting. Why is that?
If the fat, I don't like gristle, but if the fat melts, like really like dissolves to nothing, then it doesn't bother me.
Yeah.
If you have a really good cut of meat and you look at the steak and you're like, that looks too fatty, but if you touch it to your tongue and it melts apart, or like ribs, and you're like, that looks like it would be fatty, but it literally like, or like when you've had like, you do like a pork roast in the oven and you get like a pork rind on it on the edge, and it's just when you bite into it and the fat just dissolves and you don't even taste it, then it's perfectly fine. That's the best way to have it. But I agree, like there are certain things I won't eat. Part of it is like personal aversion to it, and like just, and some of it is just innate thing. I don't want to eat something that is a domesticated animal. And I don't mean like farm domestication, like I'll eat pork and not. I'm talking a working animal. I don't want to eat a camel. It's a working animal. It's too intelligent. I don't want to eat a horse. It's a working animal. It's too intelligent. And horses in particular are too important to our culture. Like we would not have North America without work horses building the country. And your people, like you're like the native Canadians, horses were a necessity.
Yeah, I mean, I'm curious to try horse meat, but at the same time, I wouldn't feel comfortable doing it in North America.
I know. I would not try it here. I remember it being sold at Sobeys, dude, and I was like, I didn't think it was legal to sell horse meat, but like it was in a bucket, and it was like, I was like, what is this? Like, it's horse meat. And I'm like, for what? And I can't remember if it was used for something. I don't think it was meant for human consumption. Because I don't think it's legal, but this was like 25 years ago. But
yeah,
I would go, like if I was in Kazakhstan, I would try it because it's part of their culture.
Yeah, because they would know how best to prepare it. I know, like, I do a lot of indigenous meetings and stuff like that. So I'm used to having venison, moose, bison, one of the most unusual meats I've had, because this is, to some people, it's a pet. I've had rabbit, and I don't particularly care for it.
It's very fatty. I've had it once before.
Yeah, it's like, I mean, and I've also never had duck either.
I was just saying, I do. My grandma made duck, and my uncle Vincent, who's the Malaysian guy in the family, he's had duck. I don't like duck because it's too fatty. It's too and not too fatty. It's greasy, very greasy for the amount of meat you get. I would much rather have a chicken or a goose, like people say a Christmas goose. A goose is less fatty than a duck.
Interesting.
And rabbit, again, not a lot of meat. If you're gonna go with if you're not gonna have in North America, if you're not gonna have a turkey or a ham for Christmas, and chicken's always good because it's cheap. But if you don't want to have chicken, you want to do something more fancy, you go with a small chicken. You go with Cornish hens because they're smaller.
I was just about to bring that up. Cornish hens are very. I love the texture and the tenderness of the meat, but it's so hard to season it properly where you don't mess it up.
Yeah, because it's not just like having, chicken. You have to prepare it more like other fowl game, like pheasant and game meat. It is different. For those listening, you kind of have to have tried it to know that it's different, but it is good. That's like the fancier Christmas meal. But and for those people listening, we have plenty of listeners outside of North America. There are plenty of people that have never had a turkey that listen to us. And it's
I remember
turkey. The best description I can give to people who've never had it is think of the biggest chicken you've ever had and make it 3 times that size. But the taste is not at all like chicken. It's completely distinctly different. I can't think of any other animal it exactly tastes like. Turkey tastes just like turkey, but you can take turkey, and if you season it with the seasonings that you would normally use for beef, it can be a beef substitute when it's ground, not when it's in chicken. When it's in its full form, it's like the muscle meat of a chicken. But if you take ground turkey and you season it right and put it in a chili or a spaghetti sauce or something like that, it will taste like beef, but on its own, it has its own unique flavor.
Yeah, it's one of those meats that mimics. It's very interesting.
Yeah.
So
anyway, that was the end of the round. I was just thinking, because there are plenty of our listeners that have literally never had a turkey. They would have only seen a turkey in Christmas movies from North America, because it's like there might be turkeys or forms of turkeys or turkey vultures and things in other countries, but the traditional like North American Christmas turkey, we take for granted that that's just something we have here. Also in the States, I didn't realize this, the vast majority, unless you're like really into like fitness and macros and that, the vast majority of Americans only eat turkey at Thanksgiving and maybe Christmas. Whereas in Canada, turkey is available in every grocery store all year round. Even the full size frozen turkey, like they're all year. They don't ever go away. So maybe it's just that we have more in the Northeast.
Yeah, maybe. So we're gonna go to our last story this week. This one comes courtesy of Sky News. U.S. heavyweight Gerald Miller won his bout at Madison Square Garden, but had to suffer the embarrassment of his toupee being dislodged mid-fight. American boxer Gerald Miller won his heavyweight bout in New York by a hair's breadth on Saturday, but lost his wig when the toupee started to come away. The American's hairpiece came loose at the front after taking a flurry of punches from his opponent Kingsley Abil during their clash at Madison Square Garden. Noticing it had been dislodged at the end of the round, the 37-year-old smiled and threw it into the crowd. Despite losing the hair, the boxer managed to keep his head and clinch victory by a split decision. Bizarrely, the boxer claimed his hair had been burned off after shampooing with bleach, and he had to get an emergency toupee. Quote, I shampooed. It was like ammonium bleach. I literally lost my hair like 2 days ago. I've seen clips of this.
Have you seen it? It looks like a cartoon. It looks like when he got punched, it was like a Rock'em Sock'em Robot.
Sock'em Robot, yeah.
But instead of his head popping up, it was like the toupee flipped up, and like you could almost see like smoke coming off of it.
He's like,
so what he was saying there was, I think he reached for shampoo and didn't realize that it was a bleach that was used for like you'd bleach the hair before then adding dye to it.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever the pH balance was messed up his hair, and it was quite funny looking, and it looked like a cartoon. It looked like a 1950s cartoon, or it looked like Bugs Bunny punched a guy and literally knocked his hair off.
See, I don't get why he wouldn't just, get a Bic and just shave it down, just be bald for a while.
Yeah, I think he's lying. I think he was always wearing a toupee, and he's just trying to cover his tracks. It's pretty clear, and it's like, man, how hard does that guy punch? Well, take a look.
Yeah, knocked his block off. Like, literally, one thing I don't understand, and I've never quite got this, maybe I do, maybe I don't. I don't understand why men, specifically in our age range, get so uptight about losing their hair at this age. I think it's
cultural. There's an aspect of like, it's an aspect of where you grew up, and like, were you told in your community that it represents masculinity or something or other. There's that aspect. There is an aspect of, I guess, just fear of getting old, of feeling old, prematurely maybe. I have not encountered this because I have a full head of hair, and if you were to look at pictures of me from when I was like 15 to now, my hairline, if we go to like above my temples or something, maybe I've receded a centimeter, but I haven't lost any hair on top or back. Like, there's no male pattern baldness, just maybe the few bits of natural, and I've just gotten more gray hair starting to pop in more than in the last few years. But like, my dad still has all of his hair. My mom has all of her hair. And I know that the hair generally comes from like the mother's side. My mom never went gray. She's had a few white hairs coming in. Like, you've seen my mom, she's got still blonde hair. Like, she's going to be 69. And her hair never changed color. Like, just her temples went gray, white. She has a few white hairs in her hair, but her hair is still like dirty blonde, and her hair is the exact same color it's been since she was in her 20s. So like, hair is generally pretty strong. Like, other people on my dad's side of the family have gone bald or balding, but like, my grandma is like 90 and she's got all of her hair. So like, generally the hair is pretty strong in my family. So I've never encountered that. And because I have disclosure, like, I have from like childhood bad psoriasis, and it's just like a skin condition that genetically I've had, where I have to put like ointments and certain creams, and sometimes when it flares up and gets bad. So when that happens, generally the best way to deal with it is to do a buzz cut. So I'll just buzz cut my hair. I'll buzz it right down till I'm like Uncle Fester. I've said that. I'll be like, hey, Blair, it's time. It's Fester time, where I'll shave my head, put the cream in and stuff, and then my skin, fixes itself for the next several months or whatever. But like, I have never, even from a kid, cared about having a buzz cut or shaved head. And I know, maybe it's good to have some pride in oneself, but I never let my hair define who I was. And I don't have a particularly like weird shaped head or something. I think if you had like scars or a weird shaped head, maybe you'd feel self-conscious about it. Like some people have weird shaped heads, but I mean, the vast majority of people don't. So I can understand culturally if women don't want to shave their head or worried about losing their hair. But like you said, this guy he's an athlete. He's a physical specimen. He's in the public. Why should he care?
Yeah, I'm like, dude, like, you're going to be fine. I mean, I know with me, I used to care a lot about my hair, and I've got a few gray hairs coming in. Maybe my hair's getting it's still growing in nice. I don't have any balls on the top of my hair. Like, I wear a lot of hats now because I'm in my 40s. I can't dye my hair like I used to.
You get hat hair. I mean, there's not to say, hey, maybe when you turn 50, maybe it'll be time to give yourself the red hair again, or like green, or do something fun with your old man hair for your birthday.
I've always wanted to grow my hair out like other elders in my community, to have the long braids and stuff like that. But it's a lot of work. It's not me. Well, and I'd much rather be comfortable.
Is it weird
Plus,
for me?
Hair gets hot.
Is it weird for me to say that I don't think fat guys look good with long hair?
I find remarkably few can pull it off.
And
remarkably few.
And I say this with the full authority of being one of the fattest men in the room.
Yeah, exactly. It's like,
so like,
yeah.
like I can say this, like, even having big teased hair with a guy, it doesn't work. Mohawks don't really work. Hats, I don't even look good with a hat because of how big my head is. It makes it look weird. Whereas you do suit hats, I don't. And we're both big guys, but different head shapes and that. I want to see you grow your hair a little bit so that we can make you look like Rufio from Hook.
See, I love having enough hair that I can spike. Like, my favorite hair to wear, honestly, I love this, but I can't find a good headband. I loved wearing a headband with my hair spiked because I loved the way it looked. I mean, I would love to see if it was work with my red hair back when I had that during college, but not so much.
I have only bleached my hair once ever, and it was in 2015, maybe it was 2016. I did it so that for Halloween I could dress up as Big Papa Pump Scott Steiner, and I even had the metal headdress I went to a medieval like reenactment website thing and purchased the chainmail. Turns out that shit weighs like 4 pounds in your head.
Yeah,
and
it's fucking expensive.
And I grew my beard in, shaved my beard, gave myself the goatee, and then dyed my goatee to look like his and everything. I did it. I was going to go to work with it, and then I got laid off, and right before Halloween. So I was like, I did all this for the Halloween party. So I was laid off, and I sat at home, and I just wore my costume at home and walked around the house for a day.
Hey man, sometimes that sparks the right
but
amount of joy.
I as a kid, my mom would be like, "Hey, would you like to dye your hair? Would you like?" She didn't care. She was like interested. She's like, "Do you want to dye your hair black? Do you want to do?" You couldn't do red with the color of hair that had. If you wanted to bleach it, did you want to do something? She was fully up for me doing anything with my hair, and I was always like, "No, I'm cool with it. I like my hair." I guess, had I been somebody who was balding at a premature age, knowing my personality, I would have just shaved my head. It's not something I would have fixated on, and I might have been the weird guy. I might have gotten fun wigs to wear or something. Who knows? But like I get why, but I also think if you're in combat sports, buddy, maybe don't wear a toupee. Is what I'm thinking back at.
Yeah, basically. So guys, that's going to do it for this edition of The Weird News this week. We're going to take another break here on the show before we bring things right home, and we have another review from Alex. What's going here? I don't know, but we'll be back right after this, only on thisweekingeek.net.
It's Patty.
Stop screaming at me, for Christ's sake.
Did she leave him again? She brought her metal detector. She left him.
Damn it to hell.
Nobody knows knows what goes on between two married people.
Nobody seems to care about my troubles. Stop pulling on me, I swear to God.
Hadley, would you like something to drink? Are you tired?
You think there's something wrong with that child?
It's a 3-generation family owned. Both father and son are veterans.
Where's David?
He rode to work.
On a Sunday? He's working on a Sunday?
David, I want to talk to you.
Please don't butt in, sir.
This is between them. If they don't want us to know, then we don't know.
And what are we supposed to do? Just play dumb?
Yeah. Play dumb. Well, you're good at that.
Oh, stop it. You're such an important part of our family. You know that.
We are kindred spirits.
I can't even sponge off you like Tammy does, because I'm not Miss Perfect.
She's not perfect.
Well, Tammy's got her own problems.
She knows she needs to let him go. Did y'all have fun last night?
Hell yeah.
Yeah, we had a lot of fun last night. Everybody just needs to grow up, if you ask me.
Was I a bad father?
Stop feeling bad that we can't do enough.
Don't you love her anymore?
Why don't you leave us alone?
We'll just be here when they need us.
You want something to love that's all your own. Something that's all yours. Well, you've never had children. They don't belong to you. And they will break your heart.
It's no wonder I am the way I am with this family.
Patty.
Well, you used to say I was an ugly baby.
You grew out of it.
Alex, the producer here, and our friends at Music Box Films have sent their latest release on Blu-ray over A Little Prayer, a film by Angus McLaughlin, starring David Strathern, Jane Levy, Dasha Polanco, Will Pullen, Anna Camp, and Celia Weston. This is from the writer and of the award-winning movie Junebug, which I actually don't think I've seen. But this picture is, I'll give you the basic synopsis. David Strathern plays a father who finds out his son is having an affair. He's trying to figure out how he can protect his daughter-in-law, who he really, really likes. It's a pretty emotional drama. There is humor in it, but it is very, very just well acted, well written. The overall performance is great. It includes an image gallery, theatrical trailer, a discussion from Ebert Fest in 2025, as well as some behind-the-scenes commentary and on a full-fledged audio commentary. It does have surround sound, a good, decent mix, but it's mostly dialogue-heavy, obviously. The widescreen aspect ratio is weird. It's 1:5:9 to 1. Just an odd framing, but interesting enough as it is. It's rated R mostly for language in the States. In Canada, I don't believe it has a particular rating because it can be released unrated, but it's well lit. It's just a very good small character picture that is well shot. The DVD pack, or sorry, the Blu-ray package is in one of those white Amaray boxes, which most of the Music Box Films have come in. Just a good, solid indie picture pickup that they did. Well worth it if you're a fan of just the actors involved. David Strathern puts in a good performance, so does Jane Levy. But worth watching for sure. As far as picking up for owning, some people might want to rent it first, but I do think that it is one of the more solid indie releases of the last year and well worth your time.
Welcome back to ThisWeekInGeek.net. I'm your host, Mike the Birdman, joined with Alex, the producer. And, well, feels nice to be back here in 2026. A lot of good stuff going on the website. I know each Wednesday at some point in the afternoon. You should be hearing The Spell Book, which is sort of replaced Botched Roll as the TTRPG focus show. How that works is me and Damien record typically 2 weeks in advance, but the next couple weeks might be a little bit different because we actually are going to have some special guests on the show talking about, some person's going to be talking about a company that they help run and develop content for D&D and Pathfinder, and another person we're going to be talking about a very exciting Kickstarter which is blowing through its goals, and we are friends of the show, so we'll be talking about the people behind Mutants and Masterminds 4th edition, which is going to be really fantastic. What else is going on? I know we promised to do Lord of the Rings. We're going to be doing Return of the King before the end of the month. That is the goal. This week is Valentine's Day, and Dave's got a girlfriend. I'm married. Don't know whether Adam has any.
I am not.
Yeah, you are not. And
I am not. Sad Panda will watch TV on his own.
Yeah, exactly. You're just going to live your life. What else is going on? I know you and Aaron are going to be doing some stuff in the next few weeks with Future Imperfect. And then I'll pop on their show whenever they give me a time or whatever, because it's weird. I was saying this to my co-host on the Spellbook, Damien. It feels nice to work with proper villains again. It feels like we're finally getting our schedules lined up. Like, I've got the Loose Cannon crew. You've got Aaron. Whenever we need me, you summon me using the mic signal and I show up.
Yeah, and prototypes, or me and Ken mostly, will pull you in for the big ones.
Yeah, and it's like, I feel like a well-oiled machine in some ways. Like,
we're well-oiled, but still squeaky in the wheels every now and then.
Yeah, like, it feels nice to record stuff in advance, like, because we still have a bunch of like evergreen content we've recorded over the last little while. I know in March, to celebrate TMNT, we're doing a loose cannon on all the Ninja Turtles movies, because I started reading the comics over the break, which I didn't even really talk about that, but it's just, long story short, I read a lot during our vacation from TWIG.
You wanted to play games, and instead you said you ended up reading like 2 years worth of books.
Yeah, and it was really nice. I mean, like, I've played a lot of stuff. I mean, since we last had our beginning of the podcast episode a couple weeks ago, I was telling you about some of the games I've played, and since then I have reviewed Final Fantasy VII Intergrade on the Switch too. I've 100%ed that game. I've now 100%ed that across 2 separate platforms. That is so rewarding in a way I can't quite explain. And I don't know, it feels nice just to come back to the Final Fantasy fandom. Now, I'm very heavily Final Fantasy VI, Final Fantasy VII. I'm starting to get in the 8, but I haven't fully dipped my foot into that quite yet. But it feels nice to play a role-playing game, take my time with it. But I also recognize if I'm going to dive into something like a Final Fantasy, I need time to not be distracted by anything else. Like, I think I kind of see how your process works, where you have to go underground for like 30-something hours to fully absorb Sukaiden or whatever the fuck it is.
When a big game comes, like, for instance, when the next Final Fantasy comes out, I might even post it, depending. If I get a review copy early, I'm not able to say anything. The public won't know. But if I were to get it and we're allowed, essentially there will be a comment, likely some meme that I send in a message of somebody having a massive erection, followed by somebody making orgasm faces as a meme, and then it will say, "I'm going in, boys. I'll come up for air, when I'm dead." I'll usually post something like that. And then maybe a day or two goes by and I'll have to send a message to my brother to let him know that he doesn't have to bring me IV fluids, just to let him know that I'm alive. Usually with a Final Fantasy or a Mass Effect or something to that extent, when it's that big, like a Persona, about 3 days in, I'll get a message from my mom asking if I'm okay, because she hasn't heard from me and she thinks I'm dying. And then I'll finish about 100 hours within a week. I'll then be in excruciating pain all over my body from all the muscles being sore, and then I'll sleep for 2 days, and then we restart the cycle again when the next big game comes out in 6 months.
Yeah, like for me, it was like that with Ghost of Yotei. and a little bit less with the Mech Warrior DLC.
Well, like for you, the last time I can remember you doing that was probably Persona Royal.
Yeah, Persona Royal. I went under for a while.
You went under
Ghost of Tsushima.
Tsushima, a little bit of Shadows.
But say Shadows, yeah, Shadows. I was gone for a good.
But
week.
as far as like you diving, where like you were doing like midnight, overnight stuff, was probably when you tried Rebirth. And initially you're like, am I done yet? I'm like, no, dude, you're like a quarter of the way through, and you're like, okay, I can't continue on like this. So you sort of scaled back. But maybe Andromeda when it first came out?
Yeah, Andromeda I beat pretty quickly because I wanted to get one of the first reviews out of it, and I think I beat it in like 3 days.
And I did the same, and then I was friends with you, but we hadn't. And you're like, would you like to? That was the first thing I did with Twig, which you're like, would you like to be on this? Because we both finished it real early. Like I remember you weren't sent a review copy. I think at that time you didn't have a relationship with EA or whatever, but
it was changing hands at that time. Yeah,
I think it was like the PR companies were changing, and I pre-ordered it, got it, and we blasted through because this is in 2017. It's before the vast majority of streamers were streaming their stuff early, so. You know, we were able to get review up pretty early. And I mean, and I remember we were both like having to sit back and go, did we get a good representation? When you play games that fast, I always make sure that I do not put my review out right away. I will wait 2 or 3 days before I start recording a review, because I'm afraid that if I play it that fast, anything negative that bothered me will be festering because I'm already tired. So it's almost better to like have a couple days and have perspective before you record it. And I remember thinking, did we have that? Because I went back and played that this December as part of our break, and I put the whole stream on our YouTube channel, and I had a much better time with it now. Now there's been some updates, and I was playing it on PC, but like I remember what I remember from that review that we did way back in the day was like we rushed through the game, did as much as we possibly could. Had many, many complaints. I remember mentioning something about scissoring that got us in trouble at the time.
My head right now.
I think it was like, I think my comment was more bold than it needed to be, but I think my comment was that the heterosexual,
please don't make,
no, the heterosexual relationships and the stuff in it was graphic, not explicit, but graphic and more in depth. But any of the, I would say, platonic or asexual ones, and any of the gay or lesbian ones were purposely, it felt like, censored and toned down. And I think I made a comment. I was like, "Hey, if I'm a lesbian, I want to see some scissoring action or something." And I remember you just being like, "No, Alex, don't." And I mean, I'm saying this in hindsight context, but you know what I'm saying, in that I feel like the way that we play those games is not always the best to do it. So for anybody that wants to know, when I play a game and I go deep like that, like I'll do like 100 hours in a week, I don't ever release the review immediately after. So even if the embargo is up, you might be like, how come your guys' review isn't out yet? Like everybody else, we might wait a few days because I let it percolate in my head. And then I'll go back and be like, in my notes, what did I like? What did I not like? And I feel like you are somewhat the same way. You're pretty good at not letting your anger at a game come through in the review unless it's really bad.
Yeah, like I always try to spin it, if not neutral, positive if I can, but I will never lie to you.
And you will you and I do it too, but sometimes you'll be like, "Hey Alex," I'll be like, I'd be like, "Before I release this review, I need to ask you if it's okay for me to say this." And it's not so much like what I mentioned there, where I was pretty crass with what I said. But again, we're going back almost 10 years, buddy. When I said that,
yeah.
I was dumb. Not that I didn't mean it, but like it might not have been the right thing to say at the time. But you'll be like, should I eviscerate this? Because you'll be like furious, and I'll be like, no. We're all a little bit older now, and I'll be like, write those feelings down. And I remember, was it a Garfield racing game that you were mad at? Or there was some game.
There was like the Nickelodeon kart racers, maybe.
I think it was one of those, and you're like, I'm so furious at this, I want to destroy it. And I'm like, I remember saying to you, like, this isn't 2009. We're not an AVGN clone.
Yeah.
And when I said that, you're like, fair.
Yeah.
Because anger got views. It's not necessary. You can say the stuff that you hate in such a way that it's not being viewed as inflammatory for the sake of.
Yeah,
and
like basically,
I think that's where we're at now when it comes to reviewing stuff.
Yeah, the era of the angry reviewer is mostly over. I mean, there'll be a few holdouts here and there, but not many.
Well, I mean, you basically at this point have your Hall of Famers that whether or not you like that style, that's their thing. You got James, you've got Angry Joe, you've got I don't even know if
Yahtzee on his new channel, whatever the hell it is.
Yeah, and the same with and like
Stephanie Sterling, stuff like that.
Guy with the glasses and that, and Sterling is more. Sterling is if you're gonna do it with vocabulary like that.
Yeah, she's funny as hell.
So you got your handful of people that have been doing it that way for 20 years, and that's their style. Don't look like you're trying to jump on that bandwagon. If you're upset, you're upset. And now I'm not saying if you're doing a live stream, if you're reviewing it live, then let your emotions flow how you feel. Don't feel like you're pushing it. But if you're doing a professional review that's recorded after the fact, think about if you need to do it or not. It doesn't mean you don't say everything you want to say, but like fuck this, fuck that, fuck this, fuck that doesn't portray anything beyond the fact that you're hysterical at the moment. Maturity as I approach my 40s.
I'm trying to think of what else to mention. Yeah, I guess that's pretty much about it. Like I said, we're going to have a new spell book on Wednesday. We'll have a new Earth versus Soup on Thursday. And then because it's Family Day this weekend and Valentine's Day, we're going to have some evergreen content on the Monday, and we're going to record TWIG on Tuesday next week.
And either the day after this comes out or sometime the rest of the week in one of our available day slots, we'll have a shorter Turtle Treasure review show for the last bit of the review items that came in during our break, because we did have a bunch of stuff that trickled in, movies and a few indie games and that, and to make sure that they're out in a timely fashion now, because some of them are out or some of them are just coming out, we're putting it out here, and then we're basically starting fresh where things that come in February are going to be dealt with on a week-to-week basis like we usually do.
Yeah, so we're going to do our best. I know I've got a bunch of RPG stuff. I know I've got the Star Trek Species book for 2nd edition just recently came out. Fallout Wasteland Wanderer.
Does that have Natasha Henstridge in it?
It does have the shapeshifter species from Discovery or not Discovery, Star Trek 6 actually. So it does have a shapeshifter.
Okay, but not Natasha Henstridge circa 1996, aka Alex is one of his first big crushes.
Unfortunately, no, Syl does not feature, but I think I've seen stats for her actually.
Because man, when you're like a 9 or 10-year-old boy and you see that Canadian girl and then right after that was Maximum Impact with Van Damme. Oh boy.
Was a good time.
All right, guys. She was a very fetching lady. She probably still is when I think about it.
Oh yeah, she's definitely adorable. So yeah, guys, we're going to take a break here, and hopefully you guys will enjoy the rest of your week. And look forward to having you guys join us for the rest of the content. And like I said, please do not forget to listen to us live on CFRU 93.3. You can go to cfru.ca. I would post a link, but it's considered news in Canada. But if you don't want to listen to us live, just wait till later in the day.
Spell it out. CFRU.ca. Yeah.
Yep. So CFRU.ca, the spell book, Wednesdays at noon. You can listen to us, and we're actually going to be doing some live programming in April. So
noon
if you come up
Eastern time zone,
yeah,
for those of you, whereas podcasts are anywhere, it's noon Eastern. So if you're
I completely forgot about that. So take a listen to us. I think our email is like the spellbookshow@gmail.com. I know it's on our website. Alex does all that stuff for us. So anyway. So for This Week in Geek, we have been
Alex, the producer.
I've been Mike, the Birdman, saying be excellent to each other, especially in these trying times. We'll catch you guys again next time, right here on thisweekingeek.net.
At no point in your rambling, incoherent response were you even close to anything that could be considered a rational thought.
Thanks for listening to this episode of This Week in Geek. Hungry for more? Check out our website at thisweekingeek.net. You can subscribe to the podcast, browse our Twitter and Instagram, and leave your thoughts on today's topics. If you'd like to give us some feedback, send us an email at feedback@thisweekingeek.net. Tune in next time, and remember,
Lower your shields and surrender your listenership.
We would be honored if you would join us.
Thank you for your cooperation. Good night.